I am going to share my screen. Okay, so on challenge 18, use a file type, or slide 18, step number 2, use a file type search, find a PowerPoint and PDF. So if I go to Google Chrome here, to the Chrome web browser, and if I want to look up information on digital citizenship and I want it to be a PDF, what I could do, I can do file type PDF, and what that will search for is any document out there that is a PDF file that's on digital citizenship. How do I know this? If you look right here, this shows a PDF there, PDF, PDF. So that's, if you know a certain file type you want out there, look for that. If you want, you know, PowerPoint, I think PowerPoint's PPT, and then I can search that way. So just know that that's another way you can search. Also, I didn't talk about this yesterday. If you go under settings here, to the left of the tools that I showed you yesterday, under settings, you can do advanced searches here, look at search activity. You have some other settings within search. So this is where you can also turn your safe search on or off. But if you go into search settings, it kind of gives you more information and gives you some things that you can change as well. So sometimes kids might say, oh, I'm getting, you know, searches based off of a particular region, or they might try to mess with you or mess with other students in the class, and they've gone into their search settings. So just to know that, that you can change things based off of your search with the settings here. So hopefully that, was that, I forgot. Sarah, were you asking the question? Does
Yep.
that, okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. And again, I don't know if anybody else had time to look at some of these challenges here. And again, you don't have to do these. Some people wait to look at the challenges right before they take the exam. That's fine. Just with our setup here with remote learning, I know some of you didn't expect that you would have homework to do. I don't know necessarily call it homework, or just to, you know, look at some of these challenges out there to prepare you for the exam. But on slide 22 here, click on this digital citizenship document. What I did, I hyperlinked a document here, and anytime if you do find information out there that you want to save to your drive, what Google has done is if you come up here to the printer, depending on, you know, your device you're using, you may not be able to print anymore. Most school districts have disabled the printing from Chromebooks because, again, Chromebooks are supposed to help, you know, be a way that we don't have to print everything anymore. So when I hit the print icon up here, it automatically will save to my Google Drive. If I do have printing capabilities and for some reason I do want to print this, I still can. If I click on this down arrow right here, I can send it to the printer, and it can still print. But again, some school districts usually mainly on the Chromebooks, have turned off the printing capabilities. So anytime you hit the printer icon anymore, it will save automatically here to your Google Drive. But just know that you can come up here to the arrow and change that. You can save it as a PDF if you want, or you have some other options to save it, where to save the document as well. So that saves you about 3 steps. Could you download it and then upload it to your Google Drive? You can, but again, if you hit this printer icon and save it to your Google Drive, again, it saves you about 3 steps. So I do want to show you, if I do download this, then if I can put it in my downloads or wherever, so I'll hit save. And it downloads here at the bottom of my screen. Another shortcut way to put this in my drive, if I don't have the option for some reason to save it to my Google Drive from here, or if I want to put this in an email, all I have to do is go over to my Google Drive. I can open up the folder I want, And if I just want it in my drive, I can put it there. Or if I want it in a folder, all I have to do is click on it down here and drag and drop it to where I want it. So if I want it in this folder, it's saying, hey, I can automatically put it right there in that folder without opening it. Same thing with email. In case if I forget to talk about this later, if I go to compose an email, right here, let's say I want to attach this to an email to, I want to send it to someone, all I have to do is drag and drop it right here. So again, saves you some steps, but I don't have to, go and insert or attach a file and insert it from wherever. If I've already downloaded it and it's right here, I can just drag and drop it. I will talk more about email here in a little bit today, but that is one feature it makes your life easier, hopefully. So, all right. So answer some questions from yesterday. Again, if you've got some more questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Raquel is going to help out in the chat as well again, and feel free to put your questions there. And if it's the same question asked by multiple people, Raquel will interrupt me and go over that. Let me move this here. So we are going to cover a lot here in the 3 hours. Someone asked about the sign-in sheet. If you signed in, that's fine. Can I ask, when you signed into the Zoom meeting this morning, did you have to register?
Yes, we did.
Okay, perfect. So if you had to do that, I think today, I think it would be fine if you don't want to fill out that sign-in sheet. Again, if you've already filled it out, it's fine. But what I will send the ROE so that you get your ISB evaluation, I'll send them the Zoom registration link. Again, so right here on slide 27 is part 2 of the agenda of what we didn't get covered yesterday. I knew we wouldn't cover everything. It just, it's always different depending on the group of educators we have out there. So we'll see what we can do to cover all of this today. So the first one that we're going to talk about is Google Classroom. Again, if you've used Google Classroom before, if you want to go ahead and look at slide 29 and look at the challenges to see, is this stuff I can create? Great. I am just going to give you a quick overview of Classroom. If you've never used Classroom before, my suggestion, take some time maybe to look at my YouTube channel and pick one of the several different workshops I've done on Google Classroom to give you a deeper dive into it. But if you're just wanting to know about Classroom for the exam, it's kind of on surface level. So here's some of the scenarios, similar scenarios you might be asked, but you don't have to, it's not a deep dive into Classroom, like knowing about grading and knowing about the rubrics and everything like that. So how do you go to Classroom? A couple different ways. You can type in classroom.google.com. You can come over here to the waffle and go to Classroom this way. If you have it on your bookmark or shortcuts, you could go that way as well. And within your Google Classroom then, if I click on my class, I've got a couple things here. Here's the stream. The stream basically is a place where announcements are posted. You have choice of how your stream looks. So just if you are using Google Classroom in your school and multiple teachers are, you might want to take time to explain to your students how you've set up your classroom, because you can set it up differently than other teachers. So again, I don't know if I said this yesterday, but anytime you're working in any of the Google apps, know these 3 things, or I guess maybe 4 things. Anytime you see the gear, know that there's settings, a menu you can change there. Anytime you see 3 dots, know that you can click that and there's some other list of, a menu of list of other things you can do. And then anytime you see these 3 lines, These 3 lines also means that there are is another menu of a list of things you can do as well. Right now, I'm going to just show you the settings here. It's under the gear. And here's where you can change the stream, the classwork on the stream. Here's where you can also have your link to Google Meet visible on your classroom. So again, you can change this. The fourth thing, you know, I said the 3 dots, the gear, and the 3 lines up there. And then the fourth thing, anytime you see a drop-down arrow, that means there's usually other choices under that as well. So with the stream, how I've got it set up is students can post and comment on the stream. Again, it was always a teaching moment for me. I would always turn that on, let the kids explore, let them know, hey, Big Brother's always watching. And then if at times some kids couldn't handle it, I could just mute those certain students, or I could just turn the stream totally off where students couldn't comment or post, where only the teachers could post. So you do have control over that for the stream as far as how students interact with it. And then the classwork on the stream, you do have control over that as well. You can show your whole assignment, your attachments and details, because on the back end, Google will push that out on the stream for you. If you want it just to show condensed notifications or just hide notifications, again, you have control over how you want to have the students interact with your stream in your Google Classroom. So where was this at again? This was at under the gear, and that's the settings for the classroom you are in. So here on the back end, I didn't type this in here. When I created a new assignment in Google Classroom, it came, you know, Google pushed it out saying, hey, your teacher, Lisa, posted a new assignment, and they can go take a look at it here if they want to, or they could go to classwork and look at it that way. So again, it's how you interact with Google Classroom. You know, for sure, let your students know. But as far as the exam, just, you know about stream, know about classwork. Classwork, know how to create an assignment or a question or material or reuse post. Again, I usually don't create a quiz assignment here from classwork, personal choice, because whenever I create an assignment, I can always add my quiz in here. I usually, whenever I'm creating an assignment, I don't usually create the quiz when I'm creating the assignment in Google Classroom. So that's one thing that I don't use, but can you use it? Sure. That allows for differentiation within Google Classroom. So with your assignment, you know how to add an assignment, whether it's from a link, Google Drive file, or YouTube. So if I go to Google Drive here and I want to add an assignment for the students to look at, so if I add the slide deck, if I want them to view this slide deck, and then know when you add an assignment, you have this drop down arrow over here that you can change it where the students can just view the file. Do you want the students to edit the slide deck, or do you want each of the students to have a copy? So you have, again, control over this. And once you've put the assignment out here, you got to give it a title. If you want to put instructions here, you can. And then again, you know how to assign it to multiple classrooms if you want. So if I want to assign it to this classroom and then another classroom, I can do that. Give it the points, give it a due date. If you want to put it under a topic, you can do that as well. So another thing here with Google Meet, I know I'm going to talk about Google Meet later as well, but since we're in Classroom, I'll go ahead and talk about the Google Meet in Classroom. Google just came out with this, I want to say in April. Teachers were having a hard time where students were joining the Google Meet before they are. Well, that's no longer happening if you use the Google Classroom Google Meet link. So if I go to the student view, and I'll show you on the student view here. On the student view, where did it go? Okay. So this is Blake, and if he is in my Google 101 class, if he wants to go to Google Meet, let's say that he knows the class is meeting at 10 a.m., he might jump in early, see if anybody's in there. Maybe he can talk to people. If he clicks on this Google Meet link, he gets this message. So again, they just changed this message, I want to say, on Friday. It was a different message than this. So that's one thing with technology, that when Google wants to make a change, they can push it out at any time. And this wasn't a big change. Would I have noticed it if I hadn't been using Google Meet almost every day? Probably not. But the students can't join the Google Meet until the teacher is in there. So if you have Google Classroom and you use Google Meet, this is the best way for the students and you as the teacher to go in and use a Google Meet, because again, the students can't join this Google Meet until the teacher joins. So once the teacher joins, then the students can join. It lets them know that the teacher's in there. So that gets around that. The other thing about this, though, in the Google Meet, you will want to make sure as the educator, as a teacher, that you are removing them, making sure all the students have left before you leave. Because right now with Google Meet, they've got it set up where if you leave, you're not ending the whole meeting for everyone, that it leaves the students in there. Will we see a change maybe in the fall that they will, end the meeting for all? We may, just like with Zoom, that you can end the meeting for all. So I know that's been a big ask of many teachers out there for it to end the meeting for all. But right now, Google Meet, if the students don't leave before you, you have to remove them. So, and I can show you when I get into Google Meet how to remove the students as well. But again, if you're using Google Meet with your students, know that, like every day at 10 a.m. that we meet, they know to go to click on this link, and they know that they can't click on it until you, the teacher's, in there. So this is nice to have. Just like with my workshops, I do try to log on at least 10 minutes before the workshop in case if there are questions, or, to allow people to, just to talk, especially some of these classmates, they're used to seeing each other. So it allows them to talk with each other and before the, actual class starts. So if I look at the challenge here, do you need me to go over how to join a Google Classroom or create a new Google class? Feel free to put it in chat or unmute yourself and say yes.
I'm fine with it. I do have a question though. I teach second grade and I was wondering, is this a bit too hard for them to use? It's like if we still do remote learning and for parents to help them, because some of them are still working.
Yeah, it's, there's pros and cons. I have been working with some teachers, kindergarten through second grade, at a few different districts that are going to use Google Classroom here in the fall. What they do, and some of them did pilot it and work with the students and parents with Google Classroom here during remote learning. And what they found is they made sure that they put the instructions when they created the assignment. Sometimes the instructions here, they also put in some maybe questions that the teacher would ask the student. So it's almost like you're a teacher, but you're also coaching the parents how to teach or work with their students. So they use this part here for instructions, sometimes for the parents. And, they did walk through Google Classroom with the parents to understand how to use it. So what I've seen out there with kindergarten through second grade, there's been a lot of discussion between Seesaw and Google Classroom. There's pros and cons between both of them. If you remind me at the end, I have an article discussing the difference between Seesaw and Google Classroom and what might be the best fit for you. So it's pros and cons on it. Some younger, grade teachers love the classroom. They just make sure they put instructions there for the parents. And some teachers, they've been using Seesaw and they want to continue using Seesaw.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. Okay, so I am going to show you how to create a classroom here. So when I am in Google Classroom here, I'm just going to go to the main page here. These are called cards. These cards basically are my classes. So if you can see, I've got 8 different classes there. Someone asked, can you join my Google 101 class? You sure can if it lets you. And here's the class code. What happens though is usually within your school, if you're using your school account, it won't let you join another Google Classroom outside of your domain. If you're using your personal account, feel free to see if you can join. That's fine. This classroom I've just used usually for a demo, but you can see different things there and you can see some of the work. So feel free if you want to see what it is like to be a student. My suggestion is to try to join a classroom of another teacher's, or feel free to join mine. So you got the class code here and I'll put it back up in a second. But how do you join the class? So all you have to do is come up here and hit the plus sign. When you click the plus sign and click join class, then all you have to do is put class code in. And again, I'll throw up the class code for that class as well. If you want to create a new class, all you have to do is create a class right here. Now, some school districts are having their student information system, maybe like TeacherE, Skyward, roster the classes for them. So if that's the case, you won't have to create the class, but I just want you to know, make sure you know how to create a class in case if you want to create a class of whether it's an after school program, if it's got coding club, or if you coach a sports team, you want to put all of the information there. I did have a coach try to get parents to join the Google Classroom, and that's how they were going to disseminate information to them. Well, again, your parents don't have a Google account within your school domain, so they couldn't join. So it looks like some people were able to join. I've got 4 students now. So again, to join the class, hit join the class. Here's the class code. So if you want to try so you can see what it looks like, feel free to join this class. And if some of you are asking about, this is a Bitmoji that you can create your own, upload your own theme. I have that on a workshop that we did yesterday, the Bitmoji virtual classroom. We talked about that. I had a teacher explaining how to do that too. But again, at the end, I could maybe go over that as well. But that's not on the exam. It's just kind of fun to know about. The other thing with Google Classroom, so the stream classwork, was there something else I was going to show you so how to join a class, create a class. Oh, and then to write a welcome message on the stream. So the stream, basically, you can post just announcements on here by just coming up, share something with your class, click on that, and here's where you can share things with the class. But what you might want to try not to do is share things that you want that go along with an assignment here through this stream, and just so that you can train the students to always go to classwork to get the work for the class. So here, if you just wanted to share a funny video or some, an announcement, you could do that here. Again, you can click on and share it out to several classes. If you share it out to one class at a time, then you can choose what students to get. So as we can see, we've got several students who are able to join from our class today, and that's great. So you can kind of see, but so if I wanted to assign, if I didn't want Blake and Lisa to get this announcement, I can just send it to the students there that I have checked. If I do select multiple classes though, watch this. This is grayed out. When I select multiple classes, I can't choose what students to send it to. It goes to all of them. So if I want to just send it to certain students, choose one class at a time, and then you can maybe just copy and paste the information into your other classes. Same thing with classwork. It's set up that way, but here's one thing that's nice. Under Create, you can reuse a post from other classes as well. So again, lots of different options. I can spend 2 to 3 hours talking about classroom, but as far as the exam, it's just kind of surface level material, because not every person will be using, Google Classroom. But again, if Google wants you to know about these different apps, if you are becoming Google Level 1 certified.
Lisa, would you be able to show us real quick how you get the Google Meet link up on the, up there?
Yeah, great question. If I come up here to the gear, and right here in the gear, so if I don't want it visible to students, I can turn it off. But you can keep it visible to students at all times, because they, again, can't get in unless if the teacher's in there. If for some reason Jill or anybody else can't see this under your settings, you might have to have your Google admin turn this on the back end.
I'm using my private account, so that's probably why it's not showing up, because I don't have that on my one at home. So that's why. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, and thanks for putting the classroom code in there. So yeah, feel free to join if you'd like, if you've got your personal account. But again, if it's your work account, normally you want to be able to join. So again, I use this, to demo, but you can kind of see how, different things that I put out there for assignments. All right, I am going to then go move on to Gmail. But again, whether you're doing the challenges today or a week from today, a month from today, and you have questions, feel free to email me. Someone emailed me this morning and said they were getting ready to take the exam. They've been taking the workshops with me and, looking back at some of the videos, and they still had some questions. Feel free to ask away, and I can even do a Zoom meeting with you one-on-one if you need help too, because I know how it is. I was nervous. I was anxious to take the exam, and it was just nice if, knowing that I had some people I could turn to ask some questions. If you look at slide 30, I'm going to talk about Gmail. Again, if you use Gmail a lot, you think you know everything, again, feel free to go on to the slide 31 and look at the challenge here. I may not talk about everything on the challenge. So again, if you've got questions, let us know and we will help you. So Gmail, how do you go to Gmail? A couple different ways. If you go to a new tab, they have Gmail right here. You don't even have to go to the waffle. But again, I usually pin my tab up here with Gmail, and I have it open at all the time because I reference a lot. Okay, shoot, someone is trying to get in and can't. I'm glad I went over here to my email. What time is it? Oh, it was 20 minutes ago. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just copy this. I'm going to just invite her with the link, the Zoom link that I have here. And hopefully she hasn't given up. So here, what you're seeing me do, this was a Zoom link that I had for this meeting. And what I'm doing, I put in her email address here and sending it to her so she can join. Usually it does go through the ROE, but since she's having problems, let me just quickly send her the link. I let her know, just sent the link. Okay. We'll see if she gets on here. If anybody knows her, maybe reach out to her too. If she gave up, hopefully she didn't. So going back to Gmail then, so threaded conversations, labels, tasks. So let me talk about that. Again, when you are in your Gmail, if you come up here to the gear, this is where settings are. So this is where I'm going to be talking about some things here, and I go down here to settings. Then I've got these different tabs up here. So I've got general, I've got labels, my inbox, accounts, all of these different tabs. I'm going to talk mainly about general. My suggestion, not even just prepping for the exam, but, just looking this over, go back here and, take a look at this. Have you ever sent an email and thought, oh, why did I just send that? Or, you saw a mistake or whatever it may be. I think you have the default is maybe you have 5 seconds to undo it. Well, if you come right here to undo send, you can put up to 30 seconds to undo that send. So again, you do have choice. You can change that. Again, the reply and reply all behavior as well. And if you saw, I think on my email did I have like 400 emails in my inbox? Again, for some of you, that might be way too many. For some of you, you might say, oh, I have 2,000, 10,000, whatever it may be. We are all different, and that is okay. Because just like within Drive, we can search our mail. So right here with Conversation View, I have this on. So what that does is it sets your email so the same topics are grouped together. So if I email back and forth with you 5, 6 times, they're grouped together. They're not separate emails. So I've got the Conversation View on. Do you have to have it on? No, you can turn it off. And I'll show you what that looks like when I go back and to my email. But again, my suggestion, if you go through these settings, do one at a time if you're not for sure if you'll like it or not, because once you do one, then you can come down here and save it and see what it does. Sometimes this vacation responder, as classroom teachers and during school year, we usually can't take time off. So it's not like we're on vacation. But what some people do, this vacation responder, if they turn it on, they may just have it on all the time and say, your email is important, and I will, respond to you at the end of the day, or, whatever it may be, so that it just sends them an email acknowledging you received it, and you'll get to the email when you have time. When I did take some time off here at the end of May, I did turn this on. And so, I put thanks for reaching out, and that I would have limited access to email. So as soon as someone emailed me, they got this, and, I told them when I would return, but I did check my email every day just to help out in case of, because I know some teachers were out there getting ready for the exam. So I wanted to make sure I was available to help them if they had some last minute questions. So I'll go ahead and save my changes because I did the Conversation View off. And if I go look back at my email here, so I had roughly about 400 emails in my inbox. Right now I have 576. So what that does is with this, let's say Angela Mann or Becky Hutton, I've emailed them several different times. So right now with the Conversation View off, it puts them as separate emails. So here's one from Becky, here's one from Becky, here's one from Susan and Susan. So then if I go back in to turn my Conversation View on, and I'm going to go and then save it, then you can see what it does to my conversation. So if you, again, want to just know more about Gmail for your own personal use, again, go to the YouTube channel. And I did do a workshop on Gmail and some other apps there as well. So if you look right here, then with Becky here, I've had 9 different emails with her, Susan 7. So if a Conversation View is on, then it says how many different emails are there. And so here, down here with Nicole, I put a little exclamation point there. It's the red bang, just because I do need to follow up with that. And if you look right here, so here's, I reached out to Nicole with a question. She's taken the Google Level 1 exam. And then right here it says 3. That means there's 3 more conversations there. So I can see all of the conversations between us if I wanted to, but it just puts it all in one email instead of me going around and clicking on the different emails like you saw before. Another thing I want to show you then, again, some people may have thousands or 10,000 emails in their inbox. Is that okay? That sure is. Again, everyone's different. And, I think Danielle got in? Woohoo. Thanks for your patience, Danielle. So we've got right up here, search mail, go to the drop-down arrow. And if I know if it's from a specific person, so I'll just go ahead and use Nicole again here. And by the way, I don't know if I told you yesterday, she emailed me and said she did pass her level 1. She wanted to know when the level 2 training is going to be. So if I wanted to look at all of the emails from her, if I want to, if there's a certain subject, has the words, if it has attachments, whatever it may be, or certain, emails date within, I can search that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a filter. So when I create this filter, what this is going to do is I can have it skip the inbox, so it won't come into my inbox. I can have it apply a label. And so if I know she's within the ROE 1, so I'll put it within the ROE 1. And then I could also apply filter to 10 matching conversations that I have with her. So what that will do is it creates a filter. So if I come over here to my ROE1 label, I can click on this label and her emails are going to be in here now. It's not going to go to my inbox. So if I want to check to see if she's emailed me, I would have to go down here to the ROE1 and check. So right now in my ROE1 label, I've got, it's only showing 2 emails that I have unread. So anytime you see a number there, that's showing that I've got some new emails that are unread. So what I've done is, at first when I set this up, I didn't like it because I wasn't checking over here to see if I had new emails from people. Now I love it because, again, it helps me stay organized. And think of these labels as folders. Again, some people may like this, some people may not. Again, in the beginning, I didn't like this, but how I've set it up, I like it. Do I have to skip the inbox? I don't. I can still have it come to my inbox and then come over here and still look at it too. But it's just my way of trying to keep my inbox cleaned up, because I will tell you, I was one of those people at one time that my inbox had thousands of emails in it. So this way it keeps me organized. Do you like this way? You may not, and that is fine. Just know that you have several different options to you about creating a filter. So again, let me just go back to hers, creating a filter, from a certain person or group. You have all of these choices here. If I don't want to skip the inbox, I just don't check that. It'll still go in the inbox. One time when I was gone for a night and my oldest son needed to sign up for the ACT. He needed help signing up for it. And then I had to use my credit card. So I think I was helping him at 10:30 at night. Well, I finished up when he was already in bed. So what I did, I put in my email address, but every time I got an email from the ACT, I had it automatically forward to Cole's address then. So that, I didn't have to worry about missing an email and making sure I forwarded it to him. So again, take a look at these. You have a lot of different options here, but these labels kind of are similar to folders and they show up over here. So I get a lot of emails from different organizations. Look at this one from COSIN. I have 434 emails. And I put my ISTE ones in there too. As you can see, I don't take a lot of time to go through this, but I just know it's there. If I need to reference it, it's out of my inbox and I don't have to mess with cleaning up my inbox. So I've just created labels over time. But again, when I first created it, I didn't like it, but I just now know to look over here for emails, and it just kind of cleans up my inbox. You could totally do it a different way. Again, don't panic, and don't think your way is wrong. There is no wrong way of how you want to organize your Gmail. And again, your Gmail doesn't have to be organized. You can have tens of thousands of emails in here and still be able to find them all by coming up here to search mail.
Lisa, we have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a way to sweep emails for trash like how you do with Hotmail, where you can group them and then delete them all at once?
So I think so if I wanted to delete all of these right now, all I have to do is come up here and click on this check,
Right, but if you wanted to like Hotmail, if you you can do it where you can group all of the like senders together.
Oh,
So like all of your Danielle's would be in the same spot, all of your Raquel's would be in the same spot, etc. And then you can scroll through. So it's a good way to get rid of things that you don't need.
okay. So like with Danielle here, so what I would do, I could just search all of Danielle's, and then I could just delete all of hers from here. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but you would have to go through them all separate, correctly? Correct.
Let me.
Hotmail automatically does it where you can click on the sender and it automatically groups them all together.
Okay. So on this one, what I had to do was put in, the sender's name or email. And then if I want, I can filter it out by this up here as well. Or if I want to delete it, they filtered all of Nicole's emails out, and then I could click on there and delete all of them at once. Is that what you're asking? Or
yeah, no? But I think it's not quite as simple as the way Hotmail makes it.
Okay. And there may be a better way. That's, one way how I do it. There could be a different way. If anybody else knows, feel free to pipe up. But yeah, I'm not for sure exactly how Hotmail does but it sounds like it's easier. So maybe you can send Google a message to, hey, you want it as easy as Hotmail. It's a good question there. Another thing here. So I've talked about threaded conversations, labels. Let me talk about task. So if I go back to my Gmail, do you see over here to the right-hand side, I've got some different apps that I can pull up while I'm in my Gmail. So if I want to see my calendar, I can pull up my calendar for today. If I want to see my Google Keep, again, I can pull up my Google Keep here. And then Task, just know about Task. This is another app that if there's a task I want to put here, or if there's an email that I need to make sure I go back to, I can add it to my task here. And so I move this conversation over there. I thought I did. Okay, there we go. And so I've got the email here. I can go in and edit it. If there's something that I want to, put in some details, if I want to add, it's added to my task, but put a date and time to it, I can. Again, I will tell you, I started to use Task a lot, and then I've kind of gone away from it. There's other ways to do it. You do what works for you. So again, that's what makes using all of this technology a good thing. There's multiple ways to stay organized, or to search, that you don't have to be organized, but just realize that how you do it might not be the way how your co-teacher or even how your students do that as well. Another thing here in the gear and settings. So here's where I can see all of my filters and labels. So the filters, these are the filters that I just created. So, if I saw the one I just created with Nicole's email, if for some reason I've got it set up to skip inbox, apply label, ROE1. If I don't want that to happen anymore, I can delete it. Or if I want to go back and edit it, I can go back and edit that, and I can go back and, take off, skip the inbox. So I will tell you, when I was, learning about this a few years ago and, changing my settings and labels, for some reason, it took me forever to figure out how to go and edit the labels I created. And it's under settings. It's the filters and blocked addresses. So just know that if you do want to learn about these labels and try them out, give it a try. Do maybe one at a time to see what you like. And over time, I have increased my labels so much so that you can see I've got a bunch of labels here. Sometimes I don't even go and read all of those emails because, again, it's there if I need it. Another thing here in the gear and settings, what else did I want to show you? Oh, the advanced tabs. If you go on to under the advanced tabs, here's some things that they are trying out. They may or may not stay there, or they may, change things. Right here under the advanced tab, you got some choices you can enable or disable. So you could have your chat on the right side of your inbox. You can enable that, disable that, unread message icon. So just know that you do have some choice in the matter of how your Gmail is set up. So take time, go to the gear, look around at the advanced settings and the general settings. So do you have to remember where everything is? No. For the exam, usually, they want you to go and manipulate some things that are in settings. So just know, in whatever app you're in, check out to see if you see a gear, 3 dots, 3 lines, or a drop-down arrow where you can manipulate and change some settings. Okay, so that's Gmail. Raquel, how are we doing with chat?
We're good. I think you've covered them all.
Okay, thank you. Again, don't forget, if you do want to go more in depth about Gmail, go and take a look at the workshop that I did talk about Gmail more in depth. So calendar, you got to see me experience calendar a little bit when I was getting Danielle the Zoom link this morning. And Danielle, thank you for your patience here, and I'm glad you got on. We do have it recorded for what you missed out on the beginning. So, and you can always stay on after and we can go over some things with you as well. But with calendar then, again, if you think you've used it a lot, go ahead and go to the challenge, take a look at that while I'm talking about slide 32. But I'm gonna just jump over here to my calendar. So right now, how I have my calendar, I like the month view. Again, if you go over here to the right of the settings or the gear, I can change it to just the day, week, whatever it may be. If you don't want to show weekends or show declined events, you can click off of that and that will show up as well. Or it won't, your declined events won't show up if you've declined some events. If I go to the gear and go to settings, here again, sometimes in the classroom, kids would say, oh, Mrs. Schwartz, look, my calendar or whatever is in German or whatever it may be. Well, here's where they can change the language. Again, know that it's, if you're not for sure about something, always check the gear where the settings are to find it. Sometimes if you aren't in Central Time Zone, come here, you can change the time zone here. But again, just look at the settings. If I will tell you this, in Google Classroom, you have your calendars here as well, come up in Google Classroom. You can delete or hide those if you aren't using that classroom anymore from the settings page here in calendar. Also enable keyboard shortcuts here for calendar. Again, if you know them, if you don't, it's fine. The only keyboard shortcuts I use are usually the ones that I use over and over again, because there's so many out there. It's hard for me to memorize and keep up with all of the keyboard shortcuts, especially for the different apps as well. But if you want to see the list of keyboard shortcuts, just click on the question mark, and here's the question mark right here. So I don't know if it's under training or if it's maybe under help. So you can scroll through there if you want to learn about the keyboard shortcuts for calendar. So creating an event, if I go over here and hit create, if yours looks different than mine, again, do you see the 3 lines here? Sometimes I hear people call it the hamburger, because when you hover over the 3 lines, it has a little bit gray circle, and I've heard people refer to that as a hamburger. I call it usually the 3 lines. That 3 lines is the main menu. So you can have the main menu showing and open all the time. If not, just click on that, it goes away. If it does go away, do you see you got the plus button that you can create right from there? But again, I usually have mine turned on where I can see the main menu at all times. So if I go and create a new event, so when you create a new event, you can create an event from here. You have to give it a title, and then you can put the date, time, you can add guest, you can even add video conferencing. So again, I have gotten used to going right here to more options. It just puts it a bigger screen, and I get to see all of the options there. So you just saw me earlier when I added Danielle to the Zoom link here, that I just put in her email address right here. So if I wanted to create a new event, let's create one for tomorrow. No, let me just do the weekend so I don't mess up any other time slots. And again, I can put 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. or, change the time right here. Even though it says 9:30, if we were meeting at 9:40, I could put 9:40. I can edit that time. Just click on it, and then I can put the time in. And then time zone, again, I can change the time zone here. I can have it, if there's not a time, but it's all day, I can put all day, and I can even repeat. So if this is something that have a meeting, every week or daily, monthly, if none of these fit what I need, I can go to custom, and I can repeat it with the custom reoccurrence, and I can have control over that. So again, they've got some set up, but again, if none of those fit your needs, you can go to custom. So event details. So here I can add video conferencing. Again, you may see Google Meet on yours. If you don't, maybe your school district hasn't turned that on, and that's not an app that you can use within your Google domain. But right now with Google Meet, you can have up to 250 participants join. Until, I don't know if they did September 1 or September 30th, that Google Meet is giving us the premium version for our Google accounts. Usually with Google Meet, since it hasn't been a need for school districts much in the past, we could only have up to, I think, 25 participants, but I think maybe they did up to 100 participants for the free version, for just the G Suite apps for education. And then also we've got Zoom. We use Zoom a lot, so we've got that integrated into our calendar as well. So if I wanted to do a Google Meet with someone right now, I could create the Google Meet. Here's the link that they will get, and then I can add guests from here. But again, my suggestion, this is too much work for you. If you're using the Google Meet with your students, have them click on the link from the classroom. If that's not visible and you can't turn it on, maybe have a conversation with your tech department, see what the district's policy is, and see if that is something that can be turned on if you do use Google Meet a lot. So right here, also find a time. So if I am going to, I'll put Erin's name in here. If I want to find a time when she's available, do you see, I can't see her calendar. And if I go back here to event details, it shows Erin. It gives me an asterisk, calendar cannot be shown. So she's outside of my organization. But if I try someone with inside my organization, I can see her calendar here, and it's putting this icon here. What that means, it's outside working hours because it's a Saturday. So if I change it back to, I'll just change it to Friday. Let me just put 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then it doesn't have that symbol over here. And then if I put a find a time, I can see her calendar here. Her calendar is in purple. So I can see when I can get maybe to schedule a time with Elizabeth without having to email back and forth. So that's one nice thing with calendar here, that if someone's within your organization and they've got it set up where you can see other people's calendars within your Google domain, then that helps. Then you don't have to email them back and forth, and you can get it on their calendar. Another thing here, you've got, it will notify them, 10 minutes or however long before you want it. So I've just got a notification on here that if they have their calendar up, it'll, notify them, hey, 10 minutes, you have a meeting, or I can even set it to email. And then right here, I am using my LTC calendar, but if I want this to go to a different classroom calendar, I can select that, or even a different calendar I have in my calendars. So if I choose a different calendar here, do you see how I've got a different color? So your calendars, you can change the color on them if you would like. If you want to show that you're busy or free, you can do that there as well. And then once I add someone, so if I add Elizabeth here, just like when I sent Danielle this calendar invite earlier, if I wanted them to modify the event, I could click on that, and then she could modify the event, invite others, or see guest list. If I don't want Elizabeth to be able to modify the event, but if I want her to have the ability, if she wants to invite others, she could, or to see the guest list, all the people here, I put that, I usually keep that turned on. So, and then if I wanted to hit save, and then when I hit save, it will send an invitation email to her to let her know that, hey, on this date, we're going to meet. So just like Danielle would have gotten an email with this Google Calendar about the message for the meeting. If I don't want to send it, just don't send, or I can dismiss. The other thing, let's say I go in and edit this for some reason. Every time I edit it, you do have the option where you don't have to send them an email, where it asks you, do you want to send them an email again? If not, you can just edit it and not sending them an email. So that is under create. A couple other things. So meet with search for people. Again, if you have in your organization calendars turned on where you can see other people's calendars, you can search for that person here. So again, I'll just use Elizabeth again, search for Elizabeth. And here it just quickly puts up Elizabeth's calendar up here on this screen. It's showing it is orange. Right down here, here's all of my calendars of my classrooms that I have. Again, if I want to, here's 3 dots. I can change the color of it. I have settings of that calendar, and within settings, that's how I can delete them or whatever I may need to do. Here are my coworkers' calendars. So at any time, I can look at their calendar and see what's going on, if they've got time to meet with me or whatever I may need. If at any time I want all of these calendars turned on, so when I select my Google 101 calendar, do you see how I've got assignments up there? So I can turn on and off the calendars. If I turn it off, it's still here, but I just don't see everything. So I can see one class at a time. So this is important to even let the students know about, that, if you're using Google Classroom, that they can see when assignments are due for all of their classes, or just one class at a time if that's overwhelming. And the difference between your Google Classroom calendar here is if you assigned a date and a time it's due, it's a dot. If you just assigned a date that it's due, it's this solid block color here to say, hey, the assignment's due on June 10th. This assignment's due June 10th, but at 3:59 p.m. Another thing here with calendars, if I go down here to other calendars and I go to plus, I can subscribe to a new calendar, create a new calendar, browse resources, browse calendars of interest. So let me click on that. So browse calendars of interest. So usually in a normal year, we've got baseball playing right now. So I'm sure in this group we've got, if you're a baseball fan, we may have some Chicago Cubs, maybe Chicago White Sox, maybe St. Louis Cardinals, whatever it may be. If I go to the Major League Baseball calendar, I can click on there and I can see all of the calendars. So we're big St. Louis Cardinal fans. So if I go down here to St. Louis Cardinal, what I've done, it says calendars added. That's all I have to do is add a calendar. Just click on it. If you see, I've got some other holidays here, other sports. So if baseball's not your thing, but you follow other sports, here's some other calendars out there. And so then if I go back to my calendar right here, so today, June 9th, would the Cardinals be playing? So normally, yes, the Cardinals there should have been at in New York playing the Mets. So it does clutter my calendar up. So if I want to keep that on there, but I don't want it on all the time, again, I can turn it off and now, hey, I can come over here. Are the Cardinals playing? Okay. Now, again, if I don't want that anymore, I can click right here and go to settings and I can delete this calendar. Or if I go back here to the plus sign into other calendars under browse calendars of interest, I can go back to baseball and then I can go down to the St. Louis Cardinals and then turn it off here. So again, you can try things, see if you like them. You can turn them off completely from here, or if you want to keep it on your calendar, but just turn it off from here, you can do that as well. So when you are also in calendar, you can, when you're creating something, if there's an attachment you want to add to it, you can put an attachment here so that, you know, if you want to attach the agenda, if you're having a staff meeting or whatever it may be, you could attach the agenda right here. So again, take a look at calendar and look at the challenges, see if you've got any questions as you get into that. Okay, so I am hoping to get through Google Forms and Sheets, and then we will take a break after that. But Raquel, are we doing okay in chat? Any questions out there?
We're good, but maybe it might be beneficial to go back to email, or for email, and show them how to create a group in contacts. You know, like if you were gonna send an email to all of your ROE1 people or whatever, instead of typing everybody's name in, show them how to set up a group.
All right. I've done this a couple times. If I go to, I think I go to contacts to set that up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Raquel, if you want to explain it, you can.
So, okay, so if you're in contacts, up on the left-hand side, it says create contact. That's where you would add a new person or multiple people if you needed to. But if you want to just do, so let's say you want to add, well, you've already got some in labels. So if you go to Carmen.
Would it be easier? Would you want to share your screen for a minute and explain this?
Oh, I can.
Okay.
Hang on, let me get my screen pulled up here.
Yeah, that's fine. And nothing like putting you on the spot if you feel comfortable.
That's okay.
So the create contacts, where we went here, Great question. If you go to the waffle, and I think Raquel explained it in the chat too, but since I'm not sharing my screen, if you go to the waffle and under the waffle, there's an app called the Contacts. And I think Raquel's going to, yeah, she's sharing her screen now. And I'll let her take the floor to explain the contacts here.
Yeah, so there's contacts and you can see all these different labels like, so Allison, I coach her for a school, but then she's doing a book study with me. So I've added multiple labels. So if it's someone that you already have in your contacts, like I'll show you Allison. You can see that I have her email address and her name. But then if you go to, let me think here how I did this. So I have already created labels, so I guess I should go and show you how to do that first. But I could click on, if I wanted to add her, she's my K2 staff, she's at a certain building. So if I want to email the whole building, or if I want to add her to the book study email, then I just would click, like I could click or unclick here. So that's one way to do it. Another way, if you go into your contact, you can click up here to edit the labels. So that's another way to do it. Over here. Oh, so under labels here, click that. Down here it says create label. So if I wanted to create a label for, I'll just do sample for now. So let's say I have a my team that I want to create a label for, I would hit save. And then I could go back over here to team. I don't have any contacts in there yet. So let's say I go to my contacts and I want to add Carmen. So I'm going to go to more actions and I'm going to go down to team and click. Now you see that team is added in there. So then if I go into my email and I compose and I just put in team, it's going to add whoever I have in my team. Whoops. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks, Raquel. I think someone was asking about how to get into the contacts again. And do you want to show that real quick again about?
Yeah, am I? For some reason I'm not. Can you still see my screen?
Oh,
no.
It just went off. And don't panic if you are taking the level 1 exam. It doesn't, you don't have to do anything with contacts on the exam, but how Raquel was showing this and how she's got it set up, shows you this is one way you can really utilize this app. But again, don't panic if you're not utilizing this app this way, because there's multiple different ways to do this, but this is just one way to organize it. And Raquel's got a very nice organization here.
The other thing I just found out about this last week was this merge and fix over here. It'll tell you if you have multiple contacts, like this Krista Hodder, she's in my book club group, but I didn't realize I had her in there twice. So I'm going to merge her 2 emails because they're the same.
Okay.
So that's just a way to fix duplicates.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And let's see. Let me go back to sharing my screen here. So the Google Contacts, what Raquel just went over, that was under the waffle. But again, I don't believe that I don't think I don't have any challenges on the contacts, because that's, again, they don't ask that on the exam. So if you don't see a need for it right now, don't panic if you don't want to use that. But as you can see, when Raquel shared her screen and showed us her contacts, she's got a lot of contacts and how she's got different labels there that she can email them. So it's just an easier way for you to email a group. All right, so then what we'll do is we'll jump into forms and sheets. Again, I am going to go over forms and sheets, kind of the surface level. If you haven't used them before, I would suggest that go take a look at, other YouTube videos out there that I did go more in depth about them. What I'm going to kind of cover again is just to prep you for the level 1 exam. If you look at some challenges here on 35 and 36 and maybe 37 here as well, it's, if you think you know about forms and sheets already, feel free to go ahead and work on the challenges. If not, I am going to go over a few basic things here with Google Forms and Sheets. So again, how do you go to Forms? Come up here, and I already had a new tab. If not, click the plus sign to go to a new tab. I can type in forms.new, forms.com to go there. I could also, or forms.google.com. Or I can come over here to Forms. I'm going to come over here to Forms here and show you. Here's where the forms are. This is the app. I will tell you, I usually don't go to Forms by this app. If I want to create a new form, I usually go forms.new, and it gets me a new form. I can always start a new form out by clicking on blank. And when I am working on a new form, I can always change that form into a quiz. So I don't have to decide, do I want this a quiz or not in the beginning? I can always change it midstream of me completing the form. So right here, this just shows recent forms that I have in my drive. There's some, you can have it as an exit ticket if you would like. If you need like a sign-up sheet for students, here's a t-shirt sign-up sheet. And some of these forms here are in the templates. I don't know if you have your template gallery turned on. Again, your Google admin can turn that on the back end. And here's my template gallery. Here's the general ones. I have used the t-shirt sign up one before several times with having students sign up for their t-shirt size. I didn't have to create that. I just used the one that was in the template, but you can see here some other templates. And, if you are new to forms, it might be worth a look at the different forms that are in the templates. Your school district can even put templates out there. So if you have templates that you use, whether it's for discipline or used to refer a student for a service, they could put the forms in here for you to access. So if I look at, normally when I want to go into my forms and I know I've been working on one, I go to my drive. And if I know where it's at, I look in my drive. If not, I can go up here and go to Forms. And if it's one that I've worked on, I want to put Owned by Me and hit search, and I can pick out the form that I want. So here on the t-shirt sign up form, I don't think I changed anything on this. This was what I got from the template. Could I change stuff on it? I could. So right here, I've got a name. Sometimes what I find, or most of the time, I learned the lesson the hard way. I failed when creating forms for the first time. Sometimes if I just put name, I wouldn't get last name from the student. So I learned the hard way that I would add first name. What is your first name? And then I added another question. What is your last name? So even though this template was already started and it came from Forms, I can always go and edit it and make it my own. Here's the shirt size. Again, if I need some other choices for shirt size, if I had youth shirts or, 2 XL shirts, I could put that here as well. I could put the preview of the image of what the shirt's going to look like. And then this is all the students would have to do. Another thing I learned from this is I forgot to limit my responses. Usually I just needed students to fill this out once. They just needed 1 t-shirt. Well, I think what happened was, students filled it out at different times. I didn't give them a time frame, and I left the form open, and I had 1 student fill it out twice. I think they just they had forgotten that they had filled it out a couple weeks ago. So how do you have access and choice over changing all of that? Again, go up here to this gear. And at this gear, here I've got, I could have it collect their email addresses if I want. I don't have to. Here I've got it restrict to users only within our Google domain. If I want other people outside of our domain to be able to access this, I just click off of that. And then here's what I wanted to have done for limit to 1 response so that they would only respond once. Do I want to allow the respondents to edit after they submit? Sure, I can hit edit after submit. And then do I want them to see the summary chart and text responses of everyone else and how they, what size shirt that they wanted? I could, but there's no need. So this is under the General tab. If I go up here to Presentation, if for some reason I have a long survey or a long quiz, I can have it where it shows the progress bar if I have several sections. So, if I have 50 question quiz, could that be overwhelming if I had all the 50 questions right there? Yeah, so I would probably want to put it in sections. And if I put it in sections, then it would show the progress bar. And it would show, okay, you're 1 of 4 sections completed, 2 of 4. And so it would show the progress bar. Here, I could shuffle question order if I wanted to. Again, depending if it's a quiz or a survey, whether you might want that or not. And then, do I want to show a link to submit another response? Right now, that is grayed out because over here on General, I turned this on where they could only limit to 1 response. If I turn that off, if I come over here, then I could have a link to submit another response right here. I could also put a confirmation message here for, once they submit this, I could say, oh, thank you for completing this, or woohoo, you've completed your quiz, or whatever it may be. And then I could say, okay, continue on to this next assignment, and I could put the link to the next assignment in there, or a link to the Google Classroom for the next assignment in there, or whatever the directions may be, I could put in here as well. And then if I go to this tab, Quizzes, this is, if for some reason I needed to make this form a quiz, I can do that. All I have to do is make this a quiz. I can turn this on and off whenever I want to. If your students are on Chromebooks managed by your school district, you can turn locked mode on. Locked mode is very similar to when you administer the MAP test with your students, that they can't go to other tabs within when they're in that test. So this turns on lock mode, that they can only work on the form when they have that turned on. But this only works if it's a Chromebook managed by the school district. If they're just using a random computer at home or another device that's not managed by the school district, this will not work. And then right here, you can release the grade immediately after each submission if you would like, or later after manual review. So again, your choice. Sometimes if you've got multiple choice and short answer or paragraph that you need a grade, you can still release the grade based off of the multiple choice questions. And then, you can go back and grade the short answer, long paragraph that you have them do, or you can just wait, hold off, don't send anything back to them, and do it later after manual review. Right here where respondents can see, they can see missed questions, correct answers, or point values. Again, you have choice in every form you fill out. If it's a quiz, if you turn on the quiz, whether they see this or not. So that is up to you, your choice. So once you got it like you want it, then you can hit save. And then right here, when you turn this into a quiz, it has total points here, and then an answer key comes up here. So, you know, if you've got a certain answer key, I guess with the short answer text, it doesn't, you know, I might switch to a different form to show you about the answer key for a multiple choice. But again, if you go up here to the gear, this is where you can change settings. Another thing here, if you want to see what this form is going to look like, you can go to this eye where it is preview, and you can preview it to see, okay, this is what it's going to look like. If you're a collaborator or own this form, you should also see this pencil down here where you can edit this form. But it just created in a new tab. Can you answer your own form? You sure can. So you can answer your form, and then if you come down here to shirt size, and then you can, you know, other thoughts or comments here, and then submit it. And so you can, right here, I've got to edit your response. So if the person needed to go and edit the response, right now, since I did turn it into a quiz, they could view their score right away. But I didn't put an answer key there. And then I did turn this back on where they could submit another response. So if I turned that off, they wouldn't have that link there. So then if this is your form that people are filling out, where do you see your responses? If you go right here, so do you see on the Google form, I've got questions here and responses. So right here, here's all of the responses that I have on the form. Here's each question. And so far, one person needs small, 2 people need medium. There's no responses here. So I can see all of the information right here in the summary. I can see it question by each question here, and I can go question by question, or I can see it by individual response. Right here also, do you see where I say accepting responses? So if I don't want to accept responses anymore, I can just turn that off. And if someone tries to access this Google form, they'll just get this message, this form's no longer accepting responses. At any time, if I want to turn it back on, I just turn it back on, and voila, I've got that. Another thing I can do you see this green icon here? This is for Sheets. So if I click on that green icon for Sheets, it puts all of the data in a sheet for me, and I can see it timestamps it. It puts what's their first name. So even though I changed this, so I just changed it here a few minutes ago. At first I just had what is your name, so it put in her full name there. But then down here, you can see on this response, I changed it, what is your last name? So it shows up here at the end. And then here's the shirt size. So you can, even though after you put the form out there and you want to change it midstream, you can, but you can see what will happen if you change questions, that the questions you've changed, it will come at the end. Can you move this around? Yeah, you can move the columns around, or even hide some columns if you need to. The other thing here, there's 3 dots right here. Again, at any time this form is filled out, I can get an email notification for new responses. So for the Google voucher form, when you fill that out, and I know many of you filled that out already yesterday, I got notifications that you filled it out. I can select the response destination. I can unlink this form. I can download it, print, or I can even delete all the responses if I reuse this form from year to year with my students. If I come up here, there's also 3 dots right up here. I have some choices here. I can add collaborators to this form as well. There's add-ons here for Google Forms that you can use. And then under preferences, you've got some default settings here. So again, you can change those to meet your needs. But again, don't forget 3 dots, gear, 3 dots here. So let me go into another form here to show you the multiple choice.
Lisa, did you talk about the required, how to get that required question on there?
Oh, no, I haven't. Great question. Or great comment here. Let's see. So what, Raquel, I think that was you, Raquel, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, okay, you know what? Let me just go to forms.new and start a new one. So another trick is if you type in forms.new, it saves you about 3 clicks and it'll create a new form for you. So this is what a new form looks like. You can put, give it a name here. And I'll put today's date. And then if I come up here and click on this, it just put the name up there. I didn't even have to type it again. It's saying all changes are saved directly in my drive. If I want to move it to a certain folder here, I can put it in the folder I want, but right now it's just out there in my drive. But again, if you're keen about being organized, you can organize it right from the document that you have open, in this case, the form that I have open. And then right here with untitled question, so I can put in what the question is. Again, most forms I use, I always say, what is your first name and last name? So what I can do, I can reuse, import a question if I would like. So if I come over here and add question, right over here, import a question, click on that. I can import a question from any form out there. So if I know that I have questions from this form, if I select this form, watch what happens here. Then here's all of the questions I have from this form. So again, I can just click on both of these, but since I already typed that one, I'll just click on this one and then import question. But if, again, it will import multiple questions for me. I went ahead and hit a new question here. So if I don't need this question anymore, I can delete it. Or if I still want it, I can move it around. So if I want my what is your last name first, if I click here, I can move the question order right there. And then what Raquel was saying, to make it required. So if you for sure want the students or whoever's filling out the form to answer the question, turn on make it required. Here's a tip that I've learned, that if I have multiple questions or multiple sections, I don't make it required until I have the form completed. Why is that? I'll show you. So here on your form, I'm showing you, right now it's short answers, but we can put multiple choice questions in here. So right now when I'm making the form, I'm not making the questions required. So if I come down here and put in a multiple choice question, and then, so what's the capital of Illinois? Do you see? I don't know if it was multiple choice there, but it uses artificial intelligence and thinks it knows what you're thinking. So it'll change it to multiple choice. But here's all of the different choices I have of the types of questions that I would like to, if I need some choice in the type of questions I ask, but I'll put multiple choice. Sometimes another thing with AI, it will give me a list of 4 choices here. Sometimes it shows up on my screen, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know the real reason behind it. Someone said maybe it's because of, the Wi-Fi you're using. Some places show up, some don't. I don't know I don't know what's the truth, why sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't. If you try it right now on your screen and create a form and type in a question, if it comes up with 4 choices or not, feel free to let me know. So if I put some choices here, I'll put Bloomington, Springfield, Peoria, and Champaign. And right now, then I've got it multiple choice. Where's my answer key? I haven't set this up to be a quiz yet. So remember, if I want this an answer key, or if I want it to be a quiz, I have to turn on it to be a quiz. So go up here to the gear, go to quizzes, make this a quiz, voila. Again, I have choice. Do I want the kids to see the missed questions, correct answers, point values? Again, different reasons for marking those for different quizzes. So right now, then, do you see I have the answer key there? The answer key only showed up when I turned this into a quiz. Can I go to quizzes and turn off the quiz? I can. When I do that, then I don't have the answer key there anymore. So again, go up to the gear, turn on, make it a quiz, and then go to the answer key. When I click on answer key here, then I can select the answer. I can give it a point value. I'll give it 1. If I want to give it any answer feedback, I can give them feedback for incorrect answers, and I can give them feedback for correct answers. So when they answer an incorrect answer, they'll get this feedback. I can even put a link to other material out there, or even a link to a YouTube video for feedback. And then again, I can put same thing for feedback for the correct answer. So that's a nice addition that they have there as well. And then let me go ahead and create a new section. So based off of this, what is the capital of Illinois? I can have them, once they finish section 1, I can have them go straight to the next section. I could have them submit the form. I can have them, go to section 2. So you do have some choice. And if you have them, some people use breakout rooms and use Google Forms for breakout rooms. So this is where that comes into play. But sometimes sections, you might have one section multiple choice, one section short answer. So whatever it may be, you can, name the section. And then again, come over here to the plus sign to add a question. At any time, if I want to duplicate a question, I can trash a question right here. And then, put in my next question. So for short answer, and then I can say, what is your opinion about whatever? And then again, right here, multiple choice, I'll put that to short answer. And so I've got that. So as you can see right here, I have not made any of these required. So I'm going to go up here to preview. When I preview it, it opens it up in a new tab. I can answer it if I want. If not, if it's one that I'm a collaborator on or I own, come down here to the pencil. I can edit this form. And then right here, I can fill it out. But since it's not required, I can go to the next section to see. So I'm like, okay, do I like this quiz? Does it look good? If it does, then that's when I can just go back to my other tab. I can close this tab out too. And I can go back and make these required, because then when I make these required and I go and take a look at the section. So let me go back to preview. Again, every time I hit preview, it goes to a new tab. So do you see right here, it's required, it's this asterisk here. And then when I hit next, it won't let me go and see the other sections, even though I own it and I can edit it. If I want to preview it, I can't go if it's required. I have to actually fill it out. Can I? I sure can, but I just want to quickly see, hey, do I have any mistakes? If not, can I push this out to the students? That's my personal preference. That's my workaround. What I have found has helped me for me to proof it, because I just wanted to proof it rather than just proofing it this way to make sure I had it set up correctly. Again, do you have to? No. There's, again, differentiation. You do what works for you. Raquel, anything else you want to add about required or?
No, that was great. I didn't even think that last was awesome. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. But so again, different ways out there you can do multiple things. So as far as the level 1 exam.
Oh, sorry, there is one question.
Yeah, go for it.
When using a paragraph response questions, I have found that Google automatically marks them wrong. Is there a way to change that setting? Courtney wants to know.
Yeah, great question. So what you want to do is probably set it up that later after manual review. And you could, if you wanted them, you know, let's say you had 20 multiple choice questions and you had a paragraph setting. My suggestion is, if you want the kids to know immediate response on those 20 questions, just don't have any points on that paragraph one and do it later after manual review if you want. Or if you put it immediately after each submission. So if you had 20 multiple choice questions, let me correct what I just said. 20 multiple choice questions, you mark what they missed. You can have it graded immediately. They get immediate feedback. They got 16 out of 20 on those multiple choice. They go down to their paragraph or short answer. There's no points on that, and you can grade that later. So where the answer key is, then just put 0 points. Don't put an answer key, you know, in there as well. And then you can give them the points later. But if for some reason you're wanting them immediate response on the other multiple choice questions, that's how I would do it. Or, you know, set up 2 separate forms, one form with multiple choice questions, then another form with a short answer or paragraphs as well. Again, there's so much differentiation you can do. And there's so much more about forms. But again, with the time frame I have, that, you know, prepping you for the exam, I'm not going to get into the response validation and all of the other things, but anybody else want to respond back if you've used forms before, your workaround with what, who asked that question? Courtney, did you say?
Yes, Courtney did.
Okay. Anybody, Raquel or anybody else have a workaround or a response to Courtney's question?
No, I don't. I've never had them had it automatically grade when I have paragraphs.
Yeah. And Courtney, if you want me to walk you through that a little bit more, I can later. I don't know if on my Google Forms workshop, if we went into response validation. I think we did. You could check that out, but I'd be happy to work with you later on that. But again, for the exam, you don't need to know that. I do have some other links here about ideas for forms and form publisher. Same thing for sheets. Take a look at that as well. I do want to get sheets covered here before we take a break, but if, of course, even if we were in person, I hope you guys realize it's easy for you to take breaks when you need to, but we will take a break here for you guys here as soon as I go over sheets. One other thing with forms, though, with this workshop example, I think I did cover this in my workshop on forms. If you want to learn about the different types of questions out there, take a look at this, or I can even talk to you afterwards about this. But again, this is more in depth than what you will need to know for the level 1 exam. So again, you know, feel free to look at this challenge here. And then I'm going to jump into the sheets. So you saw earlier with the t-shirt sign up, it took me to the sheets here, and it gives me the data in a sheet if I want to see all of the data from how the students answered on that form. What's great about this is you get immediate feedback. And if you work with other teachers or have a professional learning community, a PLC group, you can see and compare your scores among your students. So if I see that Audrey and I teach the same thing, and Audrey, all of her students are getting, you know, the questions about the capitals right, or whatever it may be, then I might ask Audrey, okay, what's your teaching style? How do you go about getting the students to know these answers to these questions? Because if you look at my data, my students, you know, less than 50% are getting those questions right. So this is a great way, you know, to look at the data and, you know, hopefully, you know, help you as a teacher, that you can help your students in your class better. So that's one thing I liked with forms, how it can then, put it in sheets so you can see. You can even, if you took off the students' names, you could throw this up on, big screen or on the students' screens, or share this out with the students to show, here's how students answered what, and have a discussion even with your students as a teacher or as a class. What, why did some people get this question right? Or, how are some, students getting it and some aren't? And maybe the students who got the answer right, they can maybe give you suggestions on, whether it's their study skills or their strategies in learning the material. So again, a great way to look at the data. So if you're not familiar with sheets, again, for the exam, you don't need to know a whole lot, so don't panic. I will tell you with spreadsheets, this causes the most anxiety among teachers. So again, take a deep breath. And let me go ahead. If you click on this link here to a sample grade book, I'm going to be looking at this here. And then it automatically pushes out, copies the grade book here so you don't accidentally make changes to it. But you should be able, once it made a copy, you should be able to, edit and do things in here. And if you saw here, this was a copy of a grade book from Gail Ross McBride. So I wanted to, encourage you, let you know, you don't have to go out and create a lot of stuff yourself. If you got the time to search for it and, it fits what you need, then use that. If not, go and create it. Could I have created a grade book simple as, this? I could have, but again, I wanted to show you that, give credit to where you got it from, and that as long as they are giving you permission to reuse it, then feel free to reuse it, but just, again, don't forget to give credit to where you got it from. So again, with this spreadsheet here, so this is data of students who took different tests. Now, some of the things you need to know with a spreadsheet, you can, you can put numbers in here, you can put words in here in the cells. And if you've ever played Battleship, and I even with my students, I talk about Battleship, and I was still surprised to see here recently that there's still students out there who play Battleship. But if I say F2, that is where the column and the row meet, and that is the cell. So here in F2, we are going to put the average of these test scores of Maria's. So to find the average, again, you don't have to memorize these anymore. When I first started teaching spreadsheets over 15 years ago, I had to teach about the formula and what you need to have. You don't even have to know that anymore. So if I come up here to the function tool, or I can get it, I think under tools, under insert function. So a couple different places I can go to get that, but I'm just used to coming up here, going to functions, and I can type or click on average. So I want to find the average. So anytime you do a formula in spreadsheets, you have to put equals in front of it, or it will just think you want to type in the word average. That just lets, on the back end, lets the Google Sheets know that you want a formula in here. So equals average, and then what I can do, I can put in B3, oh no, I messed up. I was on Maria, there we go. B2, so I can type in B2 colon E2. And how did I choose that? I just looked at Maria's test 1 to Maria's test 4. So equals average B2 colon E2. Again, if I forget the colon, it'll let me know. And there's ways that I can get around that I don't even have to memorize that I need a colon there. So if I hit enter, it shows the answer. So you might ask, well, where's the formula at? The formula is up here in the formula bar. If I want to see it instead of the answer, if I just double click here, it'll show me, hey, this is what I took the average of. Is that what I want? If that is, just hit enter to confirm the formula there, and then you can go to the next one. Another thing here, do you see this little box right here? It's called the fill handle. if I hold down my mouse and drag it down, it fills the formula for all of these averages for each student. So if I'm not for sure if the formula worked correctly, say I don't trust it, I can double click on any of the averages here. So the average for Jill, it shows me, hey, it took B5 to E5, the average, and she got a 44. It shows the answer here, but then also when I confirm it, it'll show the answer here and then put the formula up there. Another way to do this, so, you know, if I went to the function tool, what I could do, I can highlight all of this information here, and then I go up here and I want to put average. It'll put it in the next cell over, or the next column over, or it put it in F3 and it does it for me. I didn't even have to put in the formula. So there's, again, multiple ways to do this. Again, I'm going up here to average. I can highlight this and it puts it in what I want and hit enter. But again, as soon as you do it one time, just click the fill handle and voila, you've got your average for your formula. I will suggest this, if you are using a Chromebook for the exam, make sure that you have a mouse to use. I did have a teacher, she forgot to do the fill handle on the formulas and she was doing it one by one. Or no, she didn't have a mouse. And she said the mouse would have helped her on the exam because she couldn't figure out how to do the fill handle just on the touchpad on the Chromebook. So again, when you click on that, the fill handle there to the bottom right-hand corner and drag it down. And then you've got all of your formulas there for average. So then once you have that, another thing I've got here, let's say I have 100 names here. Do you see how my row 1 stays? I can freeze my row. And to freeze a row, all I have to do, I can never remember where it's at, maybe view. I go up here to freeze. I can freeze 1 row, 2 rows, up to the current row 8, because I'm on row 8. I can even freeze columns. So just know, you know, that's always has been handy for me, especially when I've been looking at spreadsheets after students filled out the forms. So then now again, you know, if I'm comparing this data, looking at this with other teachers or just within the class itself, I see this data, that's great and all, but I'm a visual learner. So with any data in a spreadsheet, you can turn into a chart. So to turn this into a chart, all I have to do, let's say I want to put the name and average in a chart. So I'm going to click on column A for name. Anytime I want to select 2 different columns that aren't next to each other, hold down the control key, and then I select the column. So what I did, I clicked on A, the column A, held down the control key, and clicked on column F. If you're on a Mac, it's the command key. So then all I have to do up here then is come up here to chart. Again, I use the icon up here. I can always go to the menu and go to insert chart that way. And I go to insert chart, and voila, it inserted a chart for me. It put average versus name. Why? Because I had the title here, average and name in there, the header. It put averages on the y-axis, and it put each kid's name on the x-axis there. Hey, Amber, would you be able to mute? It won't let me mute you, and I'm getting some feedback from you. Thank you. So here, average versus name. I've got the chart here. If you saw earlier, I had a chart editor up over here. How do I get that back? If I click on these 3 lines here, I can go to edit chart, and I've got the chart editor back. So let's say for some reason, I don't like this chart that they created for me. Can I change it? I can. Right now it created a scatter chart for me. It's what they suggested. I can choose a different one they suggest, or I can keep scrolling down and select a different chart. So you can see the different charts there. You can even select 2 different charts for the same data, just showing it in 2 different ways. And then as you can see, it put the name on the x-axis. If I wanted to change that, I could switch rows and columns. I can use row 1 as headers, use column A as labels. I can change all of this over here with the chart editor. But it, again, on the back end, Google Sheets thinks it knows what I want. And if it does, it makes my life easier, and I can do that. Now, I can keep the chart right here along with the spreadsheet. But again, if I've got a lot of data here, I might want the chart on its own tab. So again, click on these 3 dots right there. And again, don't panic if you don't remember all of this. But just know, wherever there's 3 dots, look for those. I can download this. I can delete the chart if I want, publish it, copy it. I can move it to its own sheet. So if I click on move to own sheet, I've got it there. I'm like, oh, what happened to all of my data in my sheet? Don't panic. Or you can panic for a minute, but hopefully you'll remember. Come right down here to sheet 1, the tabs here at the bottom. I can have multiple sheets here, and I can have multiple charts here. So it puts the chart on its own tab for me. So again, you've got some options up here of what you can do with this chart. Again, you've got some options here as well. You've got some of the items, the menu bar up here aren't grayed out, that you can still edit this chart. If at any time I don't want this there anymore, again, here's that arrow. Click on that arrow. I can delete it, duplicate it. I can even hide this or protect this sheet. If I am sharing this file with certain people and I don't want them to see a certain file within this copy of sample grades, I can, again, hide it or protect it. I can move these to the right or left by right here, or I can just take it and drag it and move them as well. So if I go back to sheet, I first made a chart with the name and average. Well, let's say I want a chart with the name and test 1. So all I have to do is, can I highlight? I just moved this. I just want to highlight them both here, A and B columns, and then I can go back here, insert chart, and then voila, it puts a line chart there for me. Again, if I don't want that, I can change that. Again, I can have access to change all of this over here with chart editor. Don't panic if the chart editor goes away. Just know, click back on the chart, go up here to the 3 dots, and go to edit chart. I can even customize it too. So there's so much more you can do with charts. But again, just trying to prep you for the exam. Again, if I want to move it to its own sheet, just click on move to its own sheet, or I could publish it, download it. So if you're just wanting to give the data, whether it's to your administrators or you're talking to parents or students about this data, they might not want to see all of this, the information in the sheet. They just may want to see the chart. And again, you could even download it as a PDF and send it out via Google Classroom or email, whatever it may be your method of sharing this with them. So move to its own sheet, and then it goes down here. Again, I can rename the charts as well if I needed to. So this was what? Was this test 1? This was the average of the students for the grades.
Lisa, is there a way to send those grades to Skyward? I know that's not a, that won't be a Google test question, but it's on several people's minds.
Okay, great. I know Google Classroom and Skyward are going to be syncing. I know they've been in beta and testing here the last few months, but I was thinking here in August, I know for sure will. So with spreadsheets, I don't know that answer. That's a great question. I'm thinking if they can talk with Google Classroom, that I would think there'd be a way that they could, if they programmed it that way, that they could send it to Skyward, but I don't know. That's a great question. If anybody,
What about from forms? Is it the same? They haven't made it happen yet?
from forms,
So if
I-
you make a quiz, will the grades go into Skyward?
no, I don't think they've got that set up that I know of. I guess it could be out there, but not that I'm aware of. Yeah, hopefully, Google Classroom is, I think, 6 years old now. So, when I first started using it, it's made a lot of changes and upgrades. So hopefully we will see that with Google Forms and Sheets and everything else. So my suggestion, Google does listen to us because we're the users. So feel free to let them know that you're, would like to see if this happens. I'm sure we can maybe Google it out there to see if we can get an answer about, Skyward and Google Forms. But I know Skyward's been working behind the scenes as well to sync with some of the Google apps like Google Classroom. So great question. Yeah, if anybody has time to Google that right now too and let us know, please let us know because I don't know. Just saw someone talking about you can sort these alphabetically. Let me just talk about Sheets here. Right here, each of the column headers has an arrow when I hover over it. And when I hover over it, this is, I can sort the sheet A to Z based off of any column that I want. So if I want to sort the sheet right now, A to Z by column A, I can, and all of the data will follow the people. Before, how I had the sheet sorted, I had it sorted, even though it's A to Z, it's ascending order. So this way, this would be low to high. I had it sorted descending from high to low. So you can do that for any column. You have, again, a menu of all of these other choices. If for some reason you need to hide a column at any time, you can hide it. You can unhide it. You can group a column. You can do a bunch of different things. Another thing, just a tip to know about Sheets, they added, you can add checkboxes in here. So here's a checkbox. So if I'm entering data or needing for people to put a check mark in here, sometimes this is how I keep track of things that I need to do. And if I know I've got this done, I can just come up here and hit the checkbox. So if that's the case, if you like this checkbox, again, if you just put the checkbox in there, all you have to do is drag the fill handle down and it'll put the checkbox in everywhere. Again, if you highlight a column, can you put a checkbox? If you click on checkbox, will it go? It works if you want to have it go your entire spreadsheet. But if you don't want it to go your entire spreadsheet, you can use your fill handle to do that. You do have the undo, redo buttons there as well. So again, Sheets is a powerful app that, again, comparing data with other teachers or even within other classes of yours, if you do teach the same class, and even sharing this with students and having a conversation about the data with your students is a good tool. So one other thing here, do you see how on the average, you can format numbers and text here just like you can in docs, but with the numbers you can, right now I've got it to 2 decimal places. If I need to move it to 1, I can again select the whole column, move it all to 1, or I guess 0 decimal places. If I need to increase it to 1 decimal place, I can do that as well. You can put dates. So again, under formatting, you have all of these choices here. Yeah, again, I could spend hours upon hours here going over different tips and tricks here in Sheets.
Lisa?
Yeah.
If you go back to Sheet real quick, I'll a way that I used to kind of cheat for Skyward, if you alphabetize your people once your test scores are in there,
Okay.
and then you open up 2 screens, so open up your Skyward on one side and your Sheet on the other, then you can quickly just type in your numbers. So that's a kind of a good way around the fact that they don't talk to each other.
Okay, good, I like that. I was trying to think if there was another way. Yeah, that was back in the day with Google Classroom. That's why I got 2 monitors. Once I've started with 2 monitors, I can't function without them most of the time. One monitor, I would have my grades on Google Classroom, and then Skyward on another monitor, and I would transfer over the grades too, so that's perfect. I don't know if you can download this as a CSV file, and if you can then upload that to Skyward. That could be a way. I'm sure, again, if we Google it, we can see if we can find out the answers. So yeah, great questions. And hopefully, you know, again, with these trainings and, you know, even in the classroom, I loved it when students, I could tell if students were paying attention because they had more questions. And, you know, hopefully that's what, you know, when you're on your learning journey here, that you learn stuff and then you think, oh, I have other questions. Will it do this or that? So that's what I love about education here. Anything else? Anybody else wants to share with Sheets? And Raquel, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, Elston shared a couple articles that are amazing, so you'll want to go in the chat and pull those out.
Okay, perfect.
There is a way to transfer, it looks like.
Okay, if you download it as a CSV file. Thank you, Elston, for finding it. If I get time, I will put those articles then. If Elston, if you're okay, I can link those in the slide deck as well. Okay, perfect, thanks. So again, take a look at these challenges here, whether it's now, a week from now, a month from now, or whatever it may be, to see if you understand some of the things that you might be asked of with the scenarios on the exam. It is, what time? Okay, oh shoot, it's 11 o'clock. Okay, we have an hour. Oh my. Okay, let's just take, again, you can take a break whenever. Let's just take a quick 2-3 minute break. If you need longer, you have permission to take longer. And then we'll come back and try to get through as much of this as we can. So my apologies, I didn't realize it was 11 o'clock already. I was hoping to take a break around 10:30. So it's about 11:06, I will start again. If you need a longer break, feel free to take that longer break. If not, I'll see you back here at 11:06. All right, welcome back. If you're back with us, it's okay if you still need to take a break. We've got the recording here. I am going to jump in to talk about Google Meets a little bit more. I know we've talked about them with Google Classroom. So if you look at slide 39, we've got, you can use Google Meet and from Gmail and just from the app itself, or even from a calendar, Google Calendar link like I showed you earlier. If you wanted to, you could just go into, let me close some of these tabs here. You could just go into.
Lisa, we can't see your screen.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, perfect, thanks. So right here, I just clicked on the plus sign, new tab. I can go into the apps and go to Google Meet. But again, usually when I am setting up a Google Meet, I set it up from Google Calendar or from the classroom. So, but if I needed to, right here from the app, I can join or start a meeting from here, put in the link here, and then hit continue and go from there. But normally, again, with Google Meet, I don't go to the app. Again, I go to calendar like I showed you earlier under create, and I could create, add the video conferencing of the Google Meet, and then that creates the link right in the calendar link for me. Or if you're using the Google Meet with your students, go to your classroom, and so this is the teacher view. before, do you remember when Blake, the student, went to Google Meet, he got an error saying, hey, he can't join yet. So if I go to the Google Meet, this is the teacher view. It's saying it's getting ready to load. I am going to turn off my my microphone. No one else is here right now, and I can hit join now. So it's going. Then if I switch over to the student view, so here's the student, here's Blake's Meet link. And then what it's going to do then, right here, it's going to say, hey, Lisa Schwartz is in the meeting. And let me turn off this microphone. And it's allowing him to join now. Now, before it wasn't allowing him to join because the teacher wasn't in there. So this is the student view. And then here on the teacher view, if I come up here and look at the people in the room, it shows the teacher's in there and then Blake's in there. If I would get out of this before Blake, it would keep Blake and any student in there. So what I would have to say after I, tell the students we're done for the day, thanks for coming, and they're still in there and they haven't left, and I'm ready to leave and get out of the meet, I will need to make sure I go here to this arrow to the right of his name and then remove him or any students that is in the meeting room still. Because if not, if I get out of the meeting room, it leaves the students in there. Will Google change that? We're hoping so. We don't know the reasoning behind why it just doesn't end the meeting for everyone. But maybe come fall, that will be updated, or maybe even sooner, who knows. So right here again, the chat is enabled, that the students can chat. As you can see today, the chat is another way for students to learn. It's great that you guys are putting questions and answers there and finding resources. Again, it shows you that it's okay not to know everything. For me, it's humanly impossible in my mindset to know everything, and that's why we have the internet. We can Google things, and just like Elston went out there and found some resources of how Skyward will sync with Sheets, or how you can upload or download the grades to Skyward. So I will, kind of like with Zoom, you can share your screen right down here. This is, again, the teacher view. The students can share their screen too, but if I go to present now, I can share my entire screen, my window, or just a tab. And then again, you see the 3 dots here. You've got some more options here. You can change the layout. You've got, the sidebar, the spotlight, the tile. You can change it. You might also have, you can record the meeting here as well. You can have students even join the Google Meet by phone. They can even join by phone for audio and still join the video on the computer. Just depending on the bandwidth, sometimes it's best not to have your video shown, because then you won't have any, lagging. And so if you don't have your video shown, then maybe the students can unmute themselves and talk. Sometimes if they have their video shown and they're trying to talk and it's not coming through clearly, you might ask them to turn off their video, and that might help. You can also turn, you can have captions turned on or off. Mine are turned off right now and you can't see them because I have muted my microphone, because we are, it's coming to you through Zoom. If I left my Meet unmuted, you would hear a lot of feedback, and none of us wants to hear that. So again, with Meet, just know that there's 3 dots here. And then on the next slide here, in the slide deck, I don't know what number it is without switching real quick. There are some different extensions you can have on there. So I think I've turned off the extensions right now since I've got both Zoom and Meet open. But some of the extensions, you can take attendance. I know some districts were wanting to know what students were in the Google Meet, and you might have been doing it by hand. There's an extension. There's a couple different extensions out there for attendance. I would say take a look at them, review them, which one you like better. There's Google Meet Grid View. Google Meet party button. What the party button does when you click on it, it just throws up confetti. So take a look at some of those extensions. I put the links in there to the Chrome Web Store so that you could see. So right now I am going to exit out of this Google Meet. This is the teacher side. Now I'm going to go back to the student side. Here's the students' Google Meet. As you can see, I didn't remove Blake from it. And so then Blake or any other students could still be in the meeting room. So again, you want to make sure you remove them from it. Could I go back to my Google Meet and will Blake still be there or any students? Yeah, so if I'm going back into the Google Meet, we'll be able to see that Blake is still in here. It'll say Blake is in the room, or he's in this call, and then I can join now. So again, why was Blake able to stay in? It doesn't end the meeting for all in Google Meets. You would have to make sure you remove the student. So if I come back up here and remove him, then he'll be out. With any of these extensions, if you saw on Blake's, I added the nod extension to his. These extensions would have to be pushed out to the students as well. What the nod extension is, it's just different emojis that instead of them having to respond, in chat, they could just say, oh, I liked what you said, a thumbs up. Or if he has a question, this shows that Blake raised his hand. And then on the teacher side of it, then I would see that as well. So then then I would see it. But do you know why I'm not seeing it right now? I turned that extension off on mine. So I'll have to make sure that extension is turned on so then I can see when he puts comments there. And that was called the nod. I don't know if I would have to get back out and come back in for you to see that he has a question here. So I'll go up here. I'll remove Blake from this Google meeting. I'm removing him from the call. So he's gone. Then if I leave, then if I go back to Blake's, it says someone has removed you from the meeting. So he's done. So that's what's nice about going into the Google Meet link through Google Classroom, is that the students can't join until the teacher's in. You just have to remember that to remove them. If you exit out of the Google Meet and you forget to remove them, you saw that I could go back into the Meet. They're still there. I could go and remove them and then leave the Google meeting. Hopefully, again, Google will update that if they can, so that when you end the meeting, it ends the meeting for all. Again, all of the extensions here are on slide 40. If you want to take a look at those. Do you need to know about them? No, I just threw those there. The other thing kind of that Google has, they have a Google Chat. And then with Google Chat, you can have, if you click on it, you can, talk. I've got different people and we have different rooms there as well.
Lisa?
Yeah.
Anne would like to know, does everyone see that he has a question with the nods, or can you set that to private where only you and he would know?
Oh, good question. I don't know that answer, Anne. With that one, yeah, I don't know that answer if it would, because I only have him as a student. I've never thrown in, you know what, we could try that out here at the end. If you guys don't mind, we can come back to that and try to figure that answer out. If people who have that Google Meet, who signed into my Google Classroom, you would have to add that extension to your extension list, and we could try that at the end if anybody wanted to stay on and try that. I want to know that answer now. Great question. I'm thinking with the nod, everyone sees it that has that extension on there. As you saw, I had turned off that extension, so I didn't see anything. But if I have it turned on, then I would. And usually with students, when extensions are pushed out to them, they just stay on all the time with students. But I use this Extensity extension, and again, I can turn on and off my extensions fairly easy using this extension called Extensity. Can I remove them or turn them off? other ways, yeah, there's other ways to do that as well. But great question, Ann. And again, if anybody wants to stay on and we can check that out for the people who are members of the Google class, we can have more than one person try that out. All right. Again, I know even for myself, I feel like I am moving fast through these apps that we're covering. The main goal of yesterday and today is to prep you for the exam. Again, if I am stressing you out in any way, you can always easily mute me, right? Or walk away. But also then I would encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and look at some of the other workshops where I spent a little bit more time in talking about this. So with YouTube, again, I could spend hours talking about YouTube. My main goal here then today is teaching you how to create a YouTube playlist, how to share it, talk about the built-in bookmarking and subscribing to channels. So to go to YouTube, a couple different ways you can go to YouTube. You can type in YouTube up here. You can go to your waffle and go to YouTube. If for some reason you don't see YouTube on your list of apps under the waffle, your school district might not, they might have turned that off. So my suggestion, go to your personal Google account if you have one to check it out. So if I go right here to, this is my homepage for YouTube. These are some channels. Sometimes it's advertisements. Sometimes it has to do with my subscriptions. But let's say I want to, I'll go here to my videos here. So here's my uploads. Do you need to know how to upload a video? You don't, but for the exam, but you do need to know about creating a playlist. So for example, you know, if you're at my YouTube channel or whoever's, if you need to go back to this level 1 prep part 1 from yesterday, what you could do, you could click on this clock right here and click on watch later. What that is, it's the built-in bookmarking tool for you in YouTube. So if I click on watch later, it's added to my watch later. If I come over here, my watch later is just, again, the built-in bookmarking for me that I can go back to. Again, I usually use this. I don't even know what's here on this watch later. I usually use it as a demo here for the workshop. But again, that is a great, you know, if you are coming across YouTube and you're finding something you want to learn about, just click on the watch later, the clock, and it will put it in your watch later. Now, a new thing that Google came out with is to add it to your queue. You know, if you click on add to queue, what that does, it just puts it down here to the right-hand side, and it shows all the videos you want to watch. So can I put several there? I can, and it's just right here on the bottom right-hand side. But when I'm done, I can just click X, and it says, are you sure you want to close this player? I close it, and it's gone. So again, if I want to be able to come back to it, I can put it in watch later and come back to it. Now, I'm creating a playlist. What you could do, so if you go into, you know, say you're watching this video here, and you see, oh, this video would be good for my students, you could share this out either in Google Forms or Google Classroom, wherever it may be, or you can create a playlist. So let's say you're, you know, covering, you know, Google Apps, or you're creating a playlist for other teachers in your district, whatever it may be. If I click on this 3 lines and the plus sign, I can have it in a playlist. Right now, I've got it in the playlist Google Workshops, and I added it to watch later. If I don't want it in one of those playlists, I can just click off of it. It goes off of it. If I don't have a playlist here listed that I want it in, I can click on Create New Playlist. Think of the playlist like a folder that you're saving YouTube videos to that you can access later. So then just create new playlist, give it a name. You can make the playlist public or private, or even unlisted. So again, if you don't want the playlist out there for other people to see, you can make it private, or even unlisted, and it explains the difference between all three. So then once you have a playlist, then you can hit save, and then you've got your playlist. So my playlist here, if I come over here, here's the watch later. That was built in. I didn't have to create that, but here's the Google Workshop playlist I created, and I can see all of the playlists that I have here. These could be videos that I've created myself, or these could be videos that I found out there. So let's just look at the funny videos. So if for some reason you have a playlist of funny videos, if you need to lighten things up or share things out, you can add, again, name a playlist, anything, and add the videos in there that you want. So here, I've got 7 videos here in this playlist. I've set it to public. Right here, I can shuffle the play order. I can come over here and I can move the videos, how they show up here. If you see, I've got 3 dots here on the videos. I've got other options here that I can do within this playlist. But right here, I've got the share button here, and then I also have 3 dots as well. I can even add a collaborator to this playlist where they could add videos or delete videos, move them around. And then let me just go back to share. If I click on share and I copy this link, so this is the playlist of these videos. And what I can do with that, I can share this with students. I can, if I have a Google site, and I'm going to be talking about sites here today, but let me just go to a Google site that I've already created. I'm just going to go up here to sites. And I'll open up this site. So do you see, I'm not going to the app to open up my sites. I went to my Google Drive to open up my site. So right here within Google Sites, I can insert a playlist by going to hit embed, and I can just paste the URL there. So what that will do, I will insert this, and this will insert the playlist of all of these funny videos. Why funny videos? It was just the playlist, I named it that. If you look right up here, you can see there are 7 videos in this playlist. Here I did another playlist. This was all of the workshops that I've have under my YouTube channel that I've done here recently. So you can embed a playlist like this if you want to share the whole playlist with students or staff, whatever it may be. If you just want to share a link to one of the videos, again, you can come up here and you can you do it from here? I can remove it from here, maybe not from the playlist. I can show you how you can just share a link from one video here in just a second. But again, I can go here and edit the title of the playlist. I can put a description here of the playlist as well. At any time, you do have control over changing the way it looks. So these were playlists. If I click back up here to the 3 lines, I can see all my playlists. If not, just hit the arrow to show less, and then I can go back here. So if I want to go, let me just go to Jerry Brooks' channel. So at Jerry Brooks' channel, you can subscribe to them. If you subscribe to a channel, it looks, he's got over 153,000 subscribers. I don't know if he gets, if he advertises and gets any money from any companies out there. I don't watch all of his videos all of the time if he talks about any companies or anything, but usually the more subscribers you have, the more people can become famous YouTubers and make money off of their YouTube channel based off of businesses giving them money if they talk about their products. But right here, Jerry's got some playlists here, and you can see there's 8 videos there, there's 3 there, 1 and 6. But let's say this video right here, whoops, I added it to queue. If I just click on it and I want to watch
People
it,
often ask me,
and after I watched it, I want to share this out with people. I can just come down here for just one video. I can share it here and get the link. I didn't show you in Forms, but when you're in Forms, you can even add a video into your form. What's nice about adding a video into your form, oh, I'm on responses. Let me go to questions. That's why it wasn't working. Let me just go to plus, and I can put a question there. But if I don't want a question, right down here, I can add video. So let me click add video. And I can put the link here. I can, if I already have the link, I can just paste it here, or I can search. Whoops, I need to paste it in the URL. And then that's the video I want. So I can select it, and then it can put the video right in a Google form for me. And it doesn't show the ads. And it doesn't play another video at the end once this video plays. So that's one nice thing of either putting a video in Google Sites or in Google Forms, is that it won't play the ads and you won't see comments and different things with it. Again, you know, if I see a video here, I can share it from here, and I can even add it to a playlist that I so choose. Right now I have subscribed to his channel. If at any time I want to unsubscribe from a channel, just click on that, and then you can unsubscribe from the Jerry Brooks channel. If you don't want that to happen, just hit cancel. But again, subscribing lets you know when there's videos been uploaded to YouTube. And then if you come up here to my notifications, I can see what has been, you know, the activity on my channel here or on other people's channels. So Eric Kurtz uploaded something a week ago from the Ohio meeting. Again, just to go back, I can click on these three lines. It takes me back to the main menu. I can go to home and see what's recommended here for me. Down here is my subscriptions, everything that I have subscribed to. There is YouTube Premium. I believe that's about $13 a month. That just gets rid of the ads out there. You can try it out, I think, for free for a month to see if that's anything that you're interested in. And then also here under settings, the gear, there's other things that I can change as well. So again, for the exam, how to share videos, subscribe, how to create a playlist and share that playlist. There's a challenge here. Feel free when you have time, look that over, maybe do the steps, see if it makes sense. If not, let me know and I can walk you through it again. And again, you'll have this video of this recording of this workshop that you can always go back to as well. Any questions out there on YouTube?
Not in the chat unless someone else wants to unmute and ask a question. Again, don't panic. I will tell you, YouTube, out of all of the apps, that was the most challenging for me to learn because I didn't use it that much in the classroom. And I'm still learning with that. And I'm still learning with all of the apps. So that's why I like the workshops. I love questions because sometimes you guys think of questions I haven't thought of. And as you can see, I don't know all of the answers, and I learn from you guys as well. All right, so I started talking about Google Sites a little bit here, about adding a YouTube video in there as well. So do you have to use Google Sites? No, that's just another way to disseminate information. With having Google Classroom, a lot of people use Google Classroom to disseminate the information. Could they use Google Sites too? They could, but again, we have all of these apps out there to help with differentiation. You don't have to use all of them. So Google Sites is like a web page.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about how to navigate around there enough to hopefully then you can create your own web page. And again, you don't have to ever use it, but again, for the exam, you do need to know about Google Sites. Again, if you've already used Google Sites, go through this challenge here on slide 44, see if you know how to do some of that. But so how do I get to sites? A couple different ways. If I knew I wanted to go to a Google site that I already had, you saw that I went to my Google Drive and I searched for my sites that way. Again, I could go to the apps or the waffle over here and go to sites this way. I can even type in sites.new and create a new site as well. Right here, I can create here, I can go to new Google Sites. So if I hit create, there's a classic sites that they still have up and going, but they are eventually going to just move everything to the new site. So you want to probably just start working from the new sites from here on out. I thought they were going to close out the classic sites a while ago, but as you can see, it's still there. And then when you go into a new site, you've got templates here at the top that you can look at, just like with the templates in Google Forms. Oh, I guess when I went this way, I skipped that. Let me see where the templates are. Okay, so did you see the difference there? The other one, I went to a new site. Here, I went to, let me show it again. On sites, I clicked on the new Google Sites. So before I clicked on create new sites recommended, it took me right to a new site. If I want to see the templates, I guess I can only see the templates under the new Google Sites. And again, the templates, you may or may not see this, but if you kind of want to get an idea of how you might be able to use sites, if this is something that you're interested in, look at the templates and see how they've used it before. In the classroom, what I use Google Sites when I taught computer science, we created apps. The kids created their own apps that could push out onto Android tablet, and they could interact with them just like an app that you interact with on your phone or even on the computer. And so what I had the kids do, I had them then create a portfolio, and this is where they put a picture of all of their apps, and then they talked about the app that they created right from here on the Google Sites. Why did I do it on a Google Sites? So then they had this to take with them. This was something that they could interact with. They could show their parents, siblings, other classmates that, hey, here's the apps that they created while they were in my class. And then for some of them, it was a portfolio then they could take with them and have throughout their high school years as they moved forward. Because I usually taught 7th and 8th graders the computer science classes. So let me just go back to this new Google site and how to go around. Your page title, you can put a title here, and whether if you teach 6th grade or put your name, whatever it may be. And then up here, the site name, what do you want this called? So if you want this called, your name, you can put your site name there. If I click up here, the site name, that'll come up there as well. Again, that was just by me clicking there. And, if I want to put my class rules, syllabus, or information about myself, whatever it may be, I can put on here. And then I can put links, just like a regular website out there. So if I go over here to insert text box, I can come over here, hit insert text box, and then I can put information right here. I can move this around if I have other information here. So let me just put select an image here. You can select images by a Google image search, photos, or even in your Google Drive. So what is this photo? Let me just put that in there. So, here you can interact and have photos in here as well. Let's say I want this photo above here. What I can do, click. I can drag it and put it above the text box, or I can put that text box back up there. I can move it around that way if I would like. Again, I can even insert documents from my Google Drive that people can see. Let's see, from my drive, let me. So if I want to insert that document here, it's a slide deck. And then people can interact with the slide deck right from the screen. Now, right now, I can't preview it. But if I want to preview it before I publish it, I can come up here and click on preview. And I can see what it's going to look like on a phone, a tablet, or a monitor or computer. And right here, I can interact with the slide deck. I can put this on a new tab if I want, or I can interact it right from the site right here. And I can go forward this way. If I've named the slides, I can, go to a certain slide based off of the title or for the name here. So this is, again, I don't know if you remember yesterday about using the title slides. If you use the title slides, it will put the titles here on the names if they're interacting with your slide deck from Google Sites. So after I preview it, if I like it, I can close out of it. And that's how, people are going to interact with it. Can I move this up here to the right of the picture? I can. I just grabbed it and dragged it up. Again, I can embed that playlist in here that you saw me embed earlier on this site here. I can also, if I come over here, I can add a table of contents, collapsible text, an image carousel. What this does is I can put several different images in here and they just flip through and look at the different images, kind of interacting with it like with the slide deck here. Again, insert a YouTube video here, a calendar if I want to put a calendar here so that they could see, map, docs. As you can see, you have all of these things that it interacts and allows you to insert here on your Google site. Some people that use the Google site right now are like some counselors or support personnel within a school district that they want to disseminate information to students or parents. They don't have a Google Classroom set up, but they have a Google site so that people can reference the materials through that Google site. As you saw earlier, I had a portfolio that I had the students put, their apps that they made in my class, and then they could even talk about that app underneath. So again, lots of different ways you can use Google Sites. Let me show you something else here on Google Sites. I don't know if I have it on this one. So right here, I've got different pages. So right now, this was just the math page. If I want to go to the science page, here's a science page. If I want to go back to home, I can click home. If I want to go to the geography page, click there. So how do I get the different pages? So if I go up here to pages, I'm on the home screen. I can click on the three dots here and I can add a sub page. So again, if I want to add, a sub page of resources, I can put resources, name it resources. And right now I can click on resources over here to get to resources. I can come up here and go back to home, or I can go to resources. So the more subpages I have, the more they'll be listed here. And then when you click on this arrow, they'll be under that arrow. I think in settings, under the gear, there, maybe it's not. There is a way you can have it go across the screen instead of in a drop down. Maybe it's the three dots. Maybe not. I don't
I
know.
think under there's see the advanced, does that do it? When you just had that open?
Okay. Which one did I have open?
Click on the actual Word resources.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Try that. See.
Yeah, the custom path. I think anyway, as you can see, yeah. Thanks for that suggestion. As you can see, I don't remember everything where everything's at. It's okay. If not, I can just stick with that, and maybe they took it away. So sometimes you're not going insane if you can't find something that you thought you've used before. I think it's there. But anyway, there is a way that you could put the list of all of them up here. But this drop down arrow is nice, especially if you have a bunch of pages that they could go to, that they're all not listed up there. As you can see right here, I can share this with others. Other people can be collaborators on here if I would like them to be. If I want them to have editing rights and add to this as well. So right here, down here with the plus, I can add a new subpage that way as well. But I can also just, come up here and click on the 3 dots and add the subpages that way. Okay, this is bothering me not figuring out where to go. I just need to move on. Sorry. So right here, I've got insert, I've got pages.
I found it.
Okay, where is it at?
If you put your mouse up where your name is, over there, see the little, yep, right there.
Perfect. Okay. So see, with sites, that little gear. Thank you, Raquel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was under settings though. I guess I went too fast. Right here on the top or the side, I can put that. The navigation. It can be over there. Okay. That's something different even. I was thinking there was a way in the past that you could put the list of them up here too.
There must be, because I looked at it at one that's already created and it was like that.
Okay. And
So
maybe
it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but again, maybe Google can change things at any time, and it's hard to stay abreast of all of the changes that they make. So where Raquel was saying the navigation settings here, you got this gear here, but then also the gear here, you get the navigation settings as well. I guess I just went too fast before, and again, maybe it looks different than what I'm used to as well. Another thing that's new is this announcement banner. What this announcement banner is, especially with COVID-19, you've seen, if you go to a banking website or any website that might be affected or have different hours based off of this pandemic here, they could put a banner across this. At any time, you can turn it on and off as well. I think on this one, here I put the banner stay safe. So if I want that banner off, I can just come down here to the banner, turn it off. I can change the colors. I can change the message, whatever I want. So you've got a lot of different options there. So if I turn that off, the banner goes off. Go back to announcement banner. Again, if I want it back on, just turn it back on. Again, I can change the color, whatever it may be, just by clicking the X. So again, with sites for the exam, know how to create a site, know how to insert different links, whether it's a doc, a slide deck, a YouTube video, a calendar, that you have options of all of this. And then just know, your way around as far as being able to move. You can drag and move things in different order on this page, and then you can preview it right up here. So again, if you haven't used sites before, it could be a little overwhelming, but again, for the exam, take a look at slide 44 here and look at, go through this challenge here. Okay. So I need to get through Google Groups and Google Keep here. I talked about Google Keep just a little bit, I think, when I showed the Gmail, but we'll go to Google Groups real quick. And then again, even after we end here at noon, I'll stay on for questions that you may have. And again, you can always reach me by email or go to my Calendly link and set up a time to meet with me as well. So if I go up here to the plus and I go over here to the waffle and go to groups. What a group is, it's similar to how Raquel talked about having a contact and setting up contacts and sending out an email just to those contacts, and she had the labels. This is something similar, it's just a different app that you can use. So right here with my groups within my LTC, I've got, we've got our staff group, and then I was a member of this LTC4 group. I'm going to switch over to my personal account because within our LTC account, I can't create groups, so I can't show you what I need to show you. So this kind of just shows you the groups I'm a member of. So let me switch over to my personal account. Again, could I maybe email our Google admin and let him know that, hey, I want to be able to show my workshop participants how to create a group? I could, but I can just easily do that over here in my personal account. So when I go into the app groups, I can create a group right here. What can you use groups for? Again, very similar to what Raquel was teaching us about using contacts and how she set it up in the different labels. So if I am part of, I thought I was a part of, let me go down here to the Google for Education group. What this is, I can pose a new question here, and this goes out to the entire group that's members of this Google group. Now, I can access this via the web, or I can even access this Google group via my email. So if I go to my forums here, you can see with this Google group, here's all of the emails. This can be overwhelming. As you can see, I don't get a chance to look through all of this Google group because this is very active with, you know, I probably get anywhere from 10 to 20 emails a day, if not more, from this Google group. So if I want to, I can go to on the web portion of it and see the different conversations here as well. So how do we set this all up? So let me just go back, click on groups and create a group. So in your case, you may want to create a group with some of your students that you might not have in a Google Classroom. Again, maybe you are a coach or in charge of a club and you want to group them. I took students on a trip, and so sometimes some of those students weren't in my class, so I created a group. So if I want to create a group name, or even when I taught or I was part of coding club, all of those kids in coding club weren't in my class. So if I name the group Coding Club 2020, the group email address becomes codingclub2020@googlegroups.com. And you know, the only thing I typed in here so far is Coding Club 2020. I can put it in a description. I can say 2020 Coding Club members and primary language English. Right now I'm going to select the group type as an email list. As you can see, I can set it up as a web forum, a Q&A forum, or a collaborative inbox. And so you've got choices. The most popular one here is the email list. What this email list allows users to post from the web or through the email. So when I showed you that about the Google Education group, I could post via email or through the web. And then the group visibility, you have choice over, do you want anyone on the web to be a part of this group, or to see it, or just all members of the group. So usually within the school setting, I just put all members of the group can see this. I don't want it to be seen out for anyone to see. View topics. I can select groups of users. So again, do I want managers of the group, all members of the group to see the topics, or anyone on the web? Again, managers and members, and then owners of the group down here as well. Post, again, who do I want to allow to post? Kind of like in Google Classroom on the string, who do I want to allow to post on the string? On this one, who do I want to allow to post to this group? Owners of the group, managers, all members of the group. Again, usually within the classroom setting, I don't put anyone on the web. And then join the group. Select who can join. So just like some of you are becoming members of groups out there on Facebook or Twitter, and they've got it set up where anyone can ask, here you can set it up where only invited users can be invited to the group, or anyone on the web, or people can ask, you just don't have to accept them. So again, you can put that set that up however you would like. And then once you've got this set up how you like, just hit create. So it's wanting to make sure I'm not a robot. And then I hit continue. Okay, so my Google group has been created. Now I can start inviting people to join the group. I can go back and change any of the settings again if I want, and I can add a topic and start posting. So right here, it has me double check, how do I want this? I'll hit save my changes. And right now there's 0 of 0 topics. I need to put a welcome message here in order to invite people. So I can put a welcome message to say whatever I want. And then if I come over here, I can manage my group. Again, that takes me back here to the settings. If I click back, let me manage my members. So right here, it's showing who's the owner. And then over here to the left-hand side, here's where I can invite members. I can direct add members. I can look at join request if I allowed people to, if they found this out on the web and they are asking to join, I can look at the request out there. So if I want to invite the students, I can put emails in here. I was always thinking you could only put up to 10 emails at a time, but someone else thought maybe 25. So I haven't tried lately if they've changed that. And then once you invite them, they have to accept that they want to be a member of this group. If they don't accept it, then they're not a member. So it says separate email addresses with commas. It doesn't tell me right here how many, up to how many, but if you ever get an error, let's say you put 10 emails and you can send it, and then you put 11 emails and for some reason you can't send it, it might be because it only allows you to put 10 at a time. You can invite more people, but I don't know if the magic number is 10, 25, or how many you can invite in this one message here. So then once I invite people, it won't let me send it unless if I put a message. I'll hit send invites. And then it's saying invitation sent. I can show it who it was sent to. And then on my email, then let's see if it came yet. Here's invitation to join Coding Club 2020. So then if I accept, anytime someone responds to an email or posts in the Google group, I will get that email. So I accept this invitation. And it's just another way to communicate with multiple people. And so I can visit this homepage, email this group, and I could click here, learn more about groups. So I did put a video in there of a coworker who explains Google Groups again, if you want to take a look at that before your exam. But there's no topics here yet, but if I want, I could start a new topic since I am a member of this group. It kind of looks like an email. Could I start, an email here with it, or, to this group and email, I can as well, but I can also do it from Google Groups. So if I go back to my personal account here, let me just go back to the homepage groups. If I go back to this one, you can see here's some different information of this group. And then here is, people talking about the different Google apps or different discussions. I can search for messages here if I want. It's just another way to organize it. Again, some people may not ever use the Google group part of it to look at some of these things. They may just go to their email and look at the Google group here. So looks like someone, there's 8 people had a conversation. Someone put out there about participants registering for the level 1 exam. So yeah, if some of you take the level 1 exam here this week or next week, let me know. It looks like as of 23 hours ago, people are saying that they were forced into ProctorU. So the last word we got, it was June 30th was the deadline. So I don't know, I'll look into that more and maybe get back to you or let me know as well. I'll flag that to maybe look back at that. So that's Google Groups. Is it similar to Contacts, what Raquel showed us earlier? It is. It's your preference, what you like, and what you get used to. So again, back here on the slide deck, I've got a video here if you can go back and watch creating a Google group if I went too fast for you, or go back and look at this workshop video as well. For some of you who have to go, because I do want to honor your time, here on slide 54, I have a Google evaluation. If you can fill that out, please fill that out. 3 questions, I think. And then I also have this Google voucher form. I know some of you filled that out yesterday to take the exam. If you are interested in taking the exam, you can fill out this Google voucher form to take the exam for free. It's a $10 savings. So you've got that there as well. So let me talk about Google Keep here, if you're still with me, but again, I do understand if you need to go. On Google Keep, again, it's kind of like a bulletin board where you can, if you see, manage your to-do list and take notes. You can see I've got Google Keep here to the right, even of my slide deck. I had the Google Keep right of my Gmail. And again, it's a way to keep notes. I can access it from here if I want. I can also access it from the waffle and go to Keep that way. Or if you also saw, if I went to Keep this way, I can open this in a new tab. So again, here's another way to go to it, or go to the waffle. And so right here, I can take notes. I do have my signature here so that if I need to copy and paste it on documents, I've got it in one easy place. I remember, oh, it's in Google Keep. I can go and copy it from there. I can pin things up here so that it always stays at the top. Just like with your email and different things, I can archive. I can have notes remind me. I can have collaborators here. I can change color of my notes. I can add images. Here's where I can archive it. So it's not deleted, it's just in my archives. And archives, I can come over here and look at everything I've archived. And then again, I've got 3 dots there where I've got some other options. So right from here, I can take a note, type in whatever I want. If I want, I can even have a checklist and click on these 3 dots, and here's where I can hit show checkboxes. And then again, if I want it to stay at the top of the page, I can pin it. I do want to share something else here with you too. If I go Google Keep, there's an extension out there. So for some reason, if I'm on a web page and I want to keep something from here, it's another way, kind of like to bookmark it, but it'll save to keep. So I've got Save to Keep extension here. If I click on this, it's going to save this web page to my Keep. And what I like about this compared to bookmarks is I can take a note here. I can whatever it may be, maybe this is a website I like it, and it'll refresh my memory. Oh, look at the workshops on this website. So it's saved automatically. So if I go back to my Google Keep, if I update it here, oh, it's already there without me updating. It says, here's to look at workshops. So from the extension, I can save, notes here on my Google Keep. So if you can see on my Google Keep, I've got, different things here. I can even put a picture, can even put a GIF. So I know some of you by now, after 6 hours of training here going at lightning speed, you may be feeling like this gentleman here, wanting to put your head against your desk or bang it against a wall. So I hope not. I hope you've learned some things from here that you can use in your own personal life and not just for the exam, but I hope this will help you with the exam. If you look back, I've got, a couple other things here you can reference as before you do take the exam if you want, or just reference if you do want to learn more about the Google apps. So one last quick tip, if you do sign up and take the exam. Last week I had some people take the exam and it took them a while to get an email whether they passed or not. Let me teach you a trick that you can find out usually immediately if you've passed. So once you've created your Criterion account, then it will, let me see if this is where I log in. I need to get to my login. I thought it was Web Assessor. Okay. So once I log in here, let's see if that remembers it. I don't remember my login. This is what I like about the computer. Okay. So once you've created your Criterion account, and I showed you that, I think, yesterday, you can come up here. To register for the exam, you come up here, register for the exam then. And then know that once you register for the exam, it may take up to 24 hours for Google to email you back to say your exam's ready. Usually, people have been getting the email back within a half hour to an hour that their exam's ready. Some people said it took up to 24 hours. But register for the exam. So the Google Certified Educator Level 1 exam. Click on this. It should say register. I don't have that link there since I am already Google Level 1 certified. And then it won't cost you $10. This is where you will put the voucher in if you get the voucher from the LTC. Then let's say, okay, you get the email. It's ready for you to take the exam. You take the exam and you don't get, any response. It used to, within minutes, tell you if you passed. Well, again, people are saying it's been 2 to 3 days before they get an email. You don't have to wait for that email. You come back here to your Web Assessor account where you registered for the exam, and you go to My Certifications. If you click on My Certifications, here it will tell you if you've passed. I think it's there, or maybe it's under My Assessments. Okay, it's under My Assessments. It'll tell you your result right there. So again, you don't have to wait for that email. People have gone, I think, usually within hours of checking and maybe minutes that it shows if they passed or not. So hopefully that tip, if you are taking the exam, will help you. Again, if you forget about that, feel free to email me or go back here to this video, but hopefully all of this will help and that you got the resources then for you to reduce your anxiety and stress level to help you with the Google Level 1 exam.
Lisa, can I say a couple things about that?
Yeah, you sure can.
So I went in yesterday to sign up. First thing is you have to have that voucher first before you do that. So you'll want to do that, get that from that link that Lisa had shared.
Okay.
But then I thought I could put in a date, like in a couple weeks of when I wanted to take the exam. But once you buy it, they send you a link and it tells you have 8 days to take it.
Yeah.
So just something to know. If you're not ready to take it yet, don't fill out the form looking for a date. And then there was a question. If they're not ready to take the exam, can they get the voucher in a month or two? Or do they need to get it from you like now?
No, I think you can get the voucher in the future. I will tell you with Google, this is brand new. Google's changing over who's proctoring the test. It was Criterion. Now it's ProctorU. So if you can take the exam, if you feel comfortable, there's no pressure, before June 30th, use this Google voucher form. If not, hold up, because I think these Google voucher forms that we have are only good until June 30th for the test that we now know what it is, until June 30th. When July 1 rolls around, they're changing the testing platform. It's through ProctorU, and it's a live person that gets on, and they want to see your testing environment. Right now, under ProctorU, they're really not allowing you to have like an open book, for you to reference materials. Will that change? That may. There's been some uproar about that because Google's all about using your resources that you have available to you. So I know they're still changing because originally, a couple weeks ago, they did away with Criterion and Web Assessor. Only people could go to ProctorU unless if they had a voucher. They've changed that, and they've given a window until June 30th that we can still use the old platform. And with the old platform, they don't lock down your screen. You can open up other tabs. They just want you to complete the exam in an incognito window. So, to answer that question, I'm not 100% sure. I just know what I know right now, that we've been told that the voucher that we have might only be good for the Criterion platform. I don't know if they found out if we can use them with the ProctorU platform yet or not. But there will be other vouchers, hopefully, then that we could get if these don't work. Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking. And yeah, like Raquel said, give us, when you fill out for the voucher, when you fill out this Google voucher form, allow up to 24 hours to get that back. Usually if I see it in my email, I will try to get that sent to you and confirm it as soon as I can. And then once you get that, then I'm glad Raquel shared with us that you need the voucher before you even sign up now. So this is a lot of information. Again, take a deep breath. And that you can go back to the slide deck, look at the Google Education Trainer site as well. But if you've been using Google Apps, it's sometimes we feel like we're never ready. We think, oh, we need to learn more and more, and give it a try. And if someone I think had put in, what do they have to lose? I don't know if they put that in chat or sent me a private email here after yesterday's workshop that they feel comfortable and ready to give it a try. So for anyone who's still with us, if you have other questions, feel free to stay on. I am going to go ahead and stop the recording right now, but